Hello everyone, welcome to What If Deku Went to One Piece World and Joins Monkey D. Luffy Team Part 8. Before we start, please go support KingJoka for writing that awesome fanfic. Chapter 22. Somewhere in the seas of the New World. A massive fleet of ships is sailing across the open waters. Standing on the deck of the ship leading the fleet, a lone figure dressed in white is speaking on a transponder snail. We're making steady progress towards our destination. We should reach the island within a week or so. Transponder snail. Sorry about having you deal with this matter on your own. It's unfortunate that we can't send any more Seraphim to assist you. That's alright. This mission should be easy enough to accomplish on my own. Transponder snail. I wouldn't be so confident about doing this if I was you. You're going up against one of the 7 emperors after all. All I have to do is take a child. That should be easy enough to accomplish without resorting to fighting. Transponder snail. Well, I hope you're right about that. Don't forget who's counting on you to succeed, Rob Luchi. Meanwhile on Riskana. On the coast of the island, Katakuri is seen standing across from a geared up Izuku. Katakuri. What exactly have you called me out for? I still haven't had my morning donuts. Izuku. Sorry, but I just finished upgrading my gear and wanted to test it out. I figured you'd be the best person to help me out. Katakuri. Really now? Fine, I suppose I can help, but you owe me compensation for this. Izuku. Don't worry, I'll be sure to make up for this later. Katakuri. You'd better. So, what have you done this time? Izuku. I've given myself a complete overhaul. I've upgraded my gauntlets by raising their water and Red Hawk capsule capacity up to 5. My left one also now has built-in air pressure cylinders, so I no longer need my Climattact for the Coot event. Also, I've attached my claw rings to the wrists so it's more convenient to equip them. For my Climattact, I modified it to Nami-sen's level. I also made it quite conductive, making it useful as a BM staff. My boots have been reinforced with a stronger metal, and with a little bit of help from Frankie-san, I incorporated the hover and accelerator technology from Hagakure-san's raid suit, so not only are my movements smoother, they're faster now too. Katakuri. Is that all? Izuku. Oh, that's far from all. Izuku says as he pulls his arms out of his sleeves and reaches into his bag. He equips his mouth mask which then produces a black visor that covers his eyes. He then grabs his right hand with his left. Izuku. Gear 3rd. Izuku yells before breaking off his hand at the wrist. Snow quickly swarms from his hand and his wrist and envelops him in a giant snow block. Katakuri raises his eyebrow as the block turns greenish-black and cracks form on the surface. The cracks glow brightly before the block bursts apart and reveals Izuku. His lower body is heavily fortified in cubic greenish-black snow. His legs are rectangular, similar to Machiman's arms, while his feet are reminiscent of General Frankie's. His stomach and back are bare with only his shoulders and pectoral muscles fortified. His biceps appear the same as normal, just covered in a slightly thick layer of snow. His forearms however are much larger and octagonal, shaped with small holes at each of the corners on the outward side, where his blocky hands are. Atop the back of his hands are small cylinders. Resting between Izuku's right shoulder and his neck is a large rectangular cannon with 2 muzzles situated vertically above each other. Izuku. Blastman. Katakuri. Ho. This is more interesting than I thought. Izuku. Ever since my fight with Kuma, I thought I needed to add more to my arsenal than just close combat moves, and this is my solution. Katakuri. I see. But the question is, does it pack a punch? Izuku. Why don't you find out? The bottoms of Izuku's feet light up as he begins to hover above the ground. Katakuri takes out Mole and Izuku takes aim. Izuku. Heavy artillery. Lead meteor shower. Izuku's forearms rotate as he opens fire from the 16 holes. Katakuri activates his future vision and uses his devil fruit powers to avoid the bullets without moving. Using his thrusters, Izuku circles around Katakuri at a constant radius while maintaining fire. Izuku. Hawk shot. From the cylinder on Izuku's right hand, Izuku fires a large flaming ball at Katakuri. Katakuri sees this and turns into Machi to lay flat on the ground to avoid the fireball and lead bullets. He moves along the ground as Machi towards Izuku, casually avoiding the bullets as he does. He then leaps up from the ground and reforms while aiming Mole at Izuku. Izuku uses his thrusters to avoid the attack and points his large arms at Katakuri. Izuku. Liger bazooka. Izuku's arms spark with green electricity before suddenly launching themselves at Katakuri. Katakuri hackifies and blockifies his arms and tries to defend against Izuku's large arms. Izuku's arms clash against Katakuri's and he's immediately able to tell that fending them off is more difficult than first thought. Using his awakening, Katakuri creates Machi fists that punch Izuku's arms away. The arms break apart into pieces and fall to the ground. Izuku reforms his giant arms before launching himself up into the air and hovering there. He then points his left arm down at Katakuri. Izuku. Slush Gatling. Izuku fires a barrage of snowballs at Katakuri. Looking closely, Katakuri sees the snowballs all appear to be in the shape of bunnies. He raises his eyebrow as he uses his machi to avoid the snow bunnies. As the bunnies hit the ground, they burst into a snowy mist. While he continues to dodge, Katakuri notices the ground around him and his legs beginning to freeze. Katakuri. So that's what he's doing. Izuku. It's ready. Katakuri looks up to see the lower nozzle of the cannon mounted on Izuku's shoulder glowing. Izuku. Radical cannon. Izuku fires a large yellow beam down at Katakuri. With his immense strength and haki, Katakuri breaks free from the ice at his feet and quickly dodges Izuku's laser. He then leaps up into the air and raises his leg above Izuku's head. He slams his heel down on the greenet's skull and sends him crashing to the ground. Izuku lays there on his back for a moment before Katakuri descends and stands over him, pointing mole at Izuku's face. Katakuri. We're done here. Izuku. Damn, I didn't even get to show off half of what Blastman can do. Katakuri. Next time choose an opponent who likes to give their free time to others. Katakuri says as he gets off of Izuku. With a little bit of effort Izuku manages to get back up on his feet and starts melting his snow. As this happens, Katakuri notices something underneath the snow. Once everything's melted, he can see tubes extending from Izuku's gauntlets and moving along his arms to connect to a black box of sorts that's fixed between his shoulders. Also connected to the black box is a metallic cylinder resting on Izuku's right shoulder. Katakuri. Well, this is different. What's all this then? Izuku. Blastman requires a bit more setup than Dragonman or Machiman. It relies heavily off a lot of ammunition that I can't just replicate out of snow. This little box on my back actually has a small portal carved inside it that these tubes run through. The portal leads to my sword's pocket dimension where I've set up a device that'll switch between rounds of ammunition. Of course this version is only a prototype, there's still a lot more room for improvement. Izuku says as he pushes a button on his right gauntlet. The black box glows brightly before the tubes and the cannon cylinder retract into it and it transforms into a can similar to a raid suit can. Izuku. Guess it's back to the workshop for this. Katakuri. Oi, don't forget about my compensation. Izuku. Right, I'll whip up some donuts for you. Katakuri. Good if possible, can you decorate some to look like cats? Izuku. What? Cats? Why? Katakuri. Because I'm asking for it. Izuku. Okay then, guess I won't question that any further. Katakuri. That's good considering there's nothing here to question. Katakuri says while sinking mole back into his arm. Izuku watches Katakuri do this. He looks down at his right arm and then to the can in his left hand. He then tries to shove the can into his arm with it going straight through. Katakuri. What are you doing? Izuku. I wanted to see if I could store stuff in my arm like you do with your body. If I can store my ammunition in there, it'd make the whole setup less complicated. But it looks like it won't work. Katakuri. Of course it won't work. There's a big difference between how machi and snow function. Izuku. Ah, I suppose that's true. Katakuri. Though, it may be possible for you to store things if you could awaken that ability. Izuku. Huh. Katakuri. Have you ever climbed a snowy mountain before? You never know how many dead bodies are laying beneath the layers upon layers of snow. Perhaps you could store things under layers upon layers of snow as well. Izuku. That's a very grim reasoning. And would an awakening really be able to do that? Katakuri. Is your imagination really that limited? I thought you'd have learned from your captains how far a fruit's abilities can stretch. Izuku. From Luffy senpai. Well, I guess it is pretty interesting how his red attacks work. And his Gear 4 forms have plenty of versatility, but don't those mostly haki? Katakuri. Don't tell me. Izuku. Katakuri. You truly believe Gear 4 is Straw Hat's peak? Katakuri says causing Izuku great confusion. Izuku. What are you trying to? Izuku gets cut off by a ringing sound coming from Katakuri's scarf. Katakuri. Damn it, I'm going to be late. Oi, finish up those donuts and bring them to my ship. You can hand them over to Smoothie and don't forget the decorations. Katakuri says before he makes his way to his ship, leaving Izuku standing there by himself. Izuku. I'm so confused right now, but I guess when it comes to this world that's a common occurrence. Still, all that talk about awakenings, what did he mean by it? Izuku wonders while looking at his snowy arm. Later. Robin. Are you sure you want to start focusing on awakenings now? You're still struggling with your armament haki after all. Izuku. Yeah, from the way Katakuri-san put, awakenings could open up far more roads for my power to go through. So it might be best if I owe Robin-san that hurt. Robin. I told you to wash your hair first, didn't I? Robin says as she ties off a section of Izuku's hair and picks up multiple scissors with her power. Robin. And I'm afraid I might not be of much help in this matter as I myself have yet to awaken my fruit. Izuku. That's okay. I just appreciate your insight since it always helps. Katakuri-san described awakening to me as when a devil fruit user's mind and body are able to match the pace of the fruit. When it comes to my body, or I guess my arm, I'd say it's pretty used to handling the fruit. But the part about the mind is pretty vague and I'm not sure what that's supposed to mean. Robin. It's most probably different between each fruit user, but it might be best for you to consult an actual awakened fruit user about what that entails. Izuku. I would, but Katakuri-san's really busy it seems. And given his initial advice, I'm not sure I'd get a straight answer. Robin. Well, there's others you can ask, like Traffy. Izuku. Law-san is awakened. Robin. Didn't you know? Izuku. I had no idea. Ah, that must be that one attack he did against Drake. Where is Law-san now? I want to ask him as soon as possible. Robin. I'm afraid he's out drinking again tonight and most probably won't be back for a few days. Izuku. Damn it, he and Midnight really need to tone things down before one of them does damage to their kidneys. Is there anyone else I could ask? Robin. There's Eustace Kid, though I doubt he'll be that helpful. Izuku. Him too, huh? Doesn't seem that hard to awaken a fruit seeing how many awakened users there are around me. Anyone else I should know about? Robin. I wouldn't want to ruin the surprise. Izuku. Shishi, I sure hope that surprise is worth the wait. By the way, Robin-san, aren't you taking a little longer than usual? Robin. It's been a while since I last cut your hair so I'd like to savor the moment. It's not often just the two of us can talk. Izuku. Ah, I suppose you're right. And I will admit this is nice. Setsuna. Yo, Midoriya. Izuku. Well, at least it was while it lasted. Setsuna. Sorry to interrupt, but Bakugo wants to try his new gear and he's getting antsy. Izuku. Right. Tell him I'll be there in a couple of minutes. Robin. Hang on, we still have to do the dye. Izuku. Robin-san, I don't dye my hair. Robin. You do now if you don't want those gray hairs to be visible. Izuku. Ah. Tokage-san, make that 20 minutes. Setsuna. Sure you know Bakugo, yet you want to tell him to wait 20 minutes. 20 minutes later. Izuku is seen walking to the coast towards an angry Kitsuki and Setsuna while drawing his black blade. Kitsuki. It's about time. Izuku. Sorry. Now then let's get down to business. I already explained your new gauntlets a while back so I'll just skip over them. I replaced the metal framework in your suit with carbon fiber. It's stronger and not magnetic. Kitsuki. Yeah, I figured that out already, now what did you do to my boots? Izuku. I was getting to that. Firstly, they're more resistant to heat now, so they shouldn't melt from rendered jam like your old pair did. Now, you'll notice the small tubes at the cuff of your suit. Those connect to your gauntlet, run along your arm, down your back, and should connect to tubes at the back of your pants waist. The tubes in your pants connect to your boots. Now your boots have 6 small canisters in each of them. A small bit of the sweat in your gauntlets will travel through the tubes and fill the canisters. Once they're full you'll be able to ignite the sweat and fire off explosions with dyeable jam. It'll add a bit of extra power to your kicks and can even give you a boost of speed if you need it. Setsuna. Wow, you really went all out. Izuku. Oh, it was nothing. Kitsuki. Yeah, you got that right. Izuku. Ah, almost forgot. Izuku slices open a portal and reaches his arm through. He then pulls out 3 sheathed katanas. Izuku. Since I can't exactly forge new sword, I just modified a set I bought from a blacksmith. Setsuna. How exactly do you modify a blade? Izuku. It's really a minor fix. Seeing how Kakin likes to coat the back of his blade in his explosive sweat, I thought I'd make the process a bit more convenient. There's a set of tubes that you can plug into the sheaths of your blade. Whenever you want to activate them, just make a gesture like you're cracking your knuckles, and the tubes will coat the back of your swords in the sweat. Just make sure to sheathe them the right way. Kitsuki. Izuku. You like it? Kitsuki. I can work with this. Izuku. I had a feeling you'd say something like that. Be sure to test them out and let me know if there's anything you want fixed about it. Kitsuki. Whatever. Izuku. By the way, have either of you guys seen Ragdoll? I have the tool she asked for ready. Setsuna. Oh, she and that killer guy went with Kiku and Tiger to Sabati. Izuku. Wah? She and killer? Setsuna. Yeah, surprising, I know. But hey, it's kinda cute. Izuku. Cute. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Setsuna. Sigh, one day you'll understand women. Izuku. Okay, I guess. Anyways, just tell me when they get back, okay? I'll be in my workshop in the meantime. Setsuna. No problem, say Bakugo, since today's an off day and Sabati Park ain't that big a trip to make, how's about we? Setsuna turns to Katsuki to find him intensely studying his new blades. Katsuki. What the hell are you looking at me like that for? Setsuna. Sigh, hopefully one day you'll understand women too. Katsuki. The buck. 4 days later. Mineta. Alright, let's give this another shot. Mineta says as he plucks off one of his grape balls. He closes his eyes to focus and gets in a pitcher position. He throws the ball at the ocean and it explodes to about 20 times in size, creating a large splash. Mineta. Alright. Enki. Wow, not bad, man. Zero. Yeah, that was double the size of last time. Mineta. Heh, I'm getting the hang of these devil fruit powers. They're really useful. Who knows, they might even. Look out. The trio hears a loud thud behind them, causing them to turn around. There they see Melissa sprawled on the ground. Melissa. Ow, flying's a lot harder than it looks. Zero. Hey, Melissa, you okay? Melissa. Oh, I'm fine. Just scuffed my knee a bit. Enki. Here, let me lend you a hand. Izuku. Don't touch her, guys. Izuku's voice would yell out before a large snowy fist stretches over to the boys and grabs all of them. Izuku then quickly raises them all high up into the air as sparks seem to emit from Melissa's body. Melissa. Hick. Melissa suddenly explodes into a burst plasma that incinerates the ground around her. The trio in the air stares in shock as her body reforms in the crater she created. Melissa. Ah, I did it again. Izuku. The powers of a special paramecia sure are a hassle to control, huh? Izuku says as he lowers the boys, retracts his arm and returns it to normal size. Izuku. Melissa-san, you need to practice somewhere more isolated since your powers are really dangerous. Melissa. Sorry. May. Midoriya. Izuku looks to see May running up to them while pulling Shinso by the collar. Izuku. Hey Hatsum, Shinso. What's going on here? May. Check this out. May exclaims as she pulls out a rectangular block similar to a box cutter with a slit at one end. Izuku. Is this a new invention of yours? May. Yeah, see, this case contains some of Shinso's liquid metal. Shinso. That she wouldn't stop bugging me for. May. Using my fruit powers, I can shape the metal into whatever shape I want. Watch. A purple aura surrounds May's hand and the liquid metal pours out, taking the shape of a katana blade. May. Pretty cool, right? Look, I can even make into a shield or an axe or a slingshot, it's an all-in-one tool. Izuku. Whoa, impressive. Shinso. Giving my metal was a pain, but at least it kinda helped me practice. Check it. Shinso holds out both his hands. They turn silver and melt like a liquid before taking the shape of scythes. Shinso. Scythe hands. Izuku. Not bad. Izuku holds out his right arm and molds his snow into the shape of an axe blade. Izuku. Can you do an axe? Shinso. No problem. Shinso says as he does just that. Shinso. This power is super sweet. Mineta. Their powers are way better than mine. Enki. Why is it our mechanics and Shinso have stronger powers than most of us? Meanwhile, an old Rayleigh is sitting on a stump nearby. Standing in front of him is Eri, who appears to be focusing on a twig placed in front of her. Eri. I can't do it. It's not working. Rayleigh. Patience, little gazelle. What you have is a gift that takes time to cultivate, you can't force it. As you grow, it'll grow with you. Just keep focusing on bettering yourself, okay? Eri. Okay. All Might. Sigh. Rayleigh. What's got you feeling so depressed over there? All Might. I miss being young. Rayleigh. Well, it can't be helped now, can it? That young Mrs. Power doesn't last forever and she can't always be here to replenish your youth. Besides, it's best we act our age. At the same time, Baltigo. A serious discussion is currently underway in the meeting room. Law finds himself sitting across from Basil Hawkins, who's constantly shuffling deck of cards. Law. Look, Hawkins, you're the last holdout. Everyone else has agreed to ally themselves with us in this war. Hawkins. And why should I do so as well? Law. Because you owe me. Don't forget you're only still alive because of me, you're 1%. And you'd best not forget how easily I can change that. Hawkins. I question the capabilities of your fleet. Sure, you, Straw Hat and Kid have defeated emperors, but will your foot soldiers be able to Blackbeard's 10 commanders and vast fleet? Hawkins asks as he draws a card with his straw arm. Hawkins. Allow me to test them to give me ease of mind. Law. A test. Hawkins. 100 world government ships are currently on their way to Dressrosa. They intend to place the royal family under arrest for the crime of showing their allegiance to an emperor of the seas and will take control over Dressrosa. Law. What? Hawkins. In 2 days they'll reach a small island northeast of Dressrosa. If you leave tomorrow from Dressrosa, you can arrive at the island within a day. If you and Straw Hat's forces can overcome this threat, then I'll have no problem joining. Law. How do I know you're not lying about this? There's no way you could have such information on hand for no reason. Hawkins. What could I possibly have to gain from lying? If I lied here, it'd be a waste of time on both out ends. And as for how I came about this information, I obtained it from someone your group may have an interest in. A certain clown. Law. Hawkins. It seems he has men on the inside leaking naval and world government information to him. He has a lot of valuable knowledge yet is a man of few words. Strange. In any event, whether or not you want to believe me is up to you. I suppose letting an entire nation under Straw Hat's territory fall won't have a negative impact on your alliance. Law grunts out angrily as he reaches for a transponder snail. He picks up the receiver and waits until he hears the other end being picked up. Law. Pass this on to Straw Hat. A serious situation has arisen, prepare your men and ships to sail tomorrow for a full-scale war. The next day. At the docks of Riskana, the Thousand Sunny, the Churchur Delivered, the Victoria Punk and the Polar Tang are all ready to depart with the crews on board. The captains of said ships are currently on the coast. Katakuri. Listen, it'd be beneficial if you could help defend the island while we're gone. But if any pirate groups allied with Mama appear, you're to make yourselves scarce, understood? Smoothie. Got it. Luffy. Yash, Izuku, Yamato, Robin, you guys and the others keep an eye on the island for us. Izuku. Roger, that, Captain. Robin. Leave it to us. Yamato. Are you sure you don't need our help, Luffy? You're up against so many ships after all. Luffy. It's fine, those guys don't stand a chance against us. Kid. Why is he coming with? Law. He insisted on seeing the battle play out with his own eyes. Hawkins. Believe me, seeing your face isn't exactly a delight for me either. Pillar. Fafa, you looking to lose that other arm? Hawkins. Careful, it might just be yours that goes flying this time. Izuku. Is this group really gonna be okay? After a few goodbyes and last-minute preparations, the ship set sail through a portal connected to Dressrosa and make their way towards the island marked by Hawkins. Yet again the next day. After reaching the island late in the night, the group had set up camp in the island's vast jungle. Currently, they're all busy lazing around with seemingly nothing to do. Luffy is laying against a stump and snacking on some meat when he notices Jinbei walking into the camp. Jinbei. I've talked with the whale shark surrounding the island, they've seen no ships other than ours in the surrounding ocean. Nami. That's strange. If they're supposed to reach the island today, we should be able to see them through a spyglass now. Luffy. Maybe they're invisible. Nami. What kind of super advanced technology do you think the world government has to turn 100 ships invisible? Brook. Still, something about this entire situation feels a bit odd. Usopp. You're telling me. The fact that we're able to relax like this seems like a red flag. Just then, Zoro would walk past the group. The 5 of them as well as the others including Kid and Law watch as Zoro stands in front of Hawkins, siding on a log in front of a stump with cards spread out on it. Zoro. You set us up, didn't you? Hawkins. What might you be insinuating? Zoro. I'm saying there is no world government army headed here. There's not one at all, is there? You brought us out here for some kind of ulterior motive, right? Hawkins. Kid. I've been real patient with this whole plan, Hawkins. So if this turns out to be a joke. Law. Answer him, Hawkins. Yeah. What was the point of this? Your fate depends on what you have to say. Hawkins. I've merely done what I explicitly told you I wanted to do, which was to test your forces. Pillar. Bullshit. Hawkins. I speak the truth. You claim that I've lied about the world government fleet, but it's the truth. Although. Hawkins draws a card and holds it up to his face without so much as looking at the others. Hawkins. I may have misspoken when it came to their destination. Meanwhile, Riskana. All is normal as the students continue on with their regular training schedule, despite their absent mentors. Izuku though can be seen laying listlessly on the grass with the Monkey D triplets. Robin. What are you doing? Izuku. Taking a break. Robin. Ara, are you that tired to take a nap in the middle of the day? Izuku. Well, the kids seem to enjoy it so I figured I'd try it, but I can't doze off. Robin. That's a shame. Yamato. I didn't expect you to be so cooperative. Last time the crew went to fight a battle without you, you ended up stubbornly staying on the island while everyone else evacuated and fought against Big Mom's headliners. Izuku. Back then I wanted to defend our home no matter what. Since I've been ordered to do that this time, I've got no qualms. Besides, if Luffy-senpai says he can handle it, then I'll trust him. Caw caw. Izuku, Yamato and Robin look to Izuku's ship to see Kuro flying towards them. Izuku. Kuro. Why is she looking so panicked? The bird lands in front of Izuku and places down a snail in front of him. Izuku. This looks like a video transponder snail. Yamato. Its eyes are flashing, does that mean it's picking up a signal? Robin. Yes, it does. Izuku. It only works one way so we can only see the caller. It's probably just lost and wanting to let us know they've met with the enemy or something. Izuku says as he sits up and presses a button on the snail's shell. The snail then projects a holographic screen out of its eyes. The screen displays nothing but static, confusing the group. Izuku. Enki. Hey, you guys watching a movie or something? Enki says as he and the others pause their training for a moment and gather around the transponder snail. They wait patiently as the static begins to clear. The screen then displays a face that surprises Robin, much to the surprise of the others. Greetings, Straw Hat. Izuku. Robin-san, you okay? You look a bit shaken up. Robin. That's Rob Luchi. Izuku. That Rob Luchi. Shoto. Can someone explain who that is? Robin. He's Rob Luchi, an agent of Cypher Aegis Zero. The world government's strongest intelligence organization and a group of incredibly dangerous assassins. He was one of Luffy's hardest adversaries in the past. Enki. Then isn't it big trouble if someone like that is trying to contact us? Luchi. I'll cut to the chase and make this easy enough for even someone like you to understand. Currently we've seized command over your base of Baltigo. Izuku. They took over Baltigo. Ichako. That's way off from where Luffy and the others went to. Luchi. We have a fleet 100 warships in size, manned by hundreds of thousands of men and over 100 pacifistas. Not only do we have an army of this magnitude ready to fight, we also a bit of insurance here. Luchi says as he reaches down for something off screen. He then lifts up a beaten, bloodied and barely conscious Bardo by the skull. Izuku. Bardo. Luchi. This fool tried to show some resistance. What a weakling. Bardo. Sorry my great senpai. Luchi. If you don't want to watch him die over the snail then you'll do as I say. Izuku clenches his fists as he glares angrily at the screen. Luchi. If you want to see this imbecile and his crew alive again, then you'll bring the silver-haired child with one horn to Baltigo. Hearing Luchi's demand causes everyone to gasp. The small child can feel her heart start pounding. Aizawa immediately tries to calm her down by pulling her in close. Luchi. One child's life for the lives of an entire crew, it seems like a fair deal to me. We know you possess some sort of ability that allows you to travel great distances in a short amount of time, so we won't be waiting long for you to make your decision. You have 1 hour. Luchi says as the transmission ends abruptly. Izuku punches the ground angrily with veins bulging on his forehead. Izuku. Don't joke with me. Mirio. Why the heck do they want Eri? Robin. CP0 works directly for the world nobles. Eri-chan was bought as a slave by them, so it's possible they sent Rob Luchi to retrieve her. Aizawa. This is sickening. Majire. This is all happening because we couldn't protect Eri-chan back there. Mina. What do we do? We can't just give Eri-chan to them. Zero. But if we do nothing, they'll kill Bardo and his crew. Kawaro. Can't we just warp the others back here and try to fight them off? Vlad. They'd just kill them on the spot then. Midnight. Besides, none of us have been to that island before and it's a whole day's worth of sailing to get there. Melissa. The Stormer is our fastest vehicle, but even then it'd take at least several hours to get there. Anasa. What about those Revolutionary Army guys? Can't they help? All Might. They could if we knew where they were, but they left in the middle of the night without a trace. Eri. Aye. Izuku. Listen up, you lot. Izuku yells, causing everyone to be silent. He stands up to address the crowd of heroes and young pirates. Izuku. Ragdoll-san, use my sword to take the kids to Rayleigh-san for safety. Tiger-san, Robin-san try to get in contact with all available members of the Grand Fleet and confirm their locations. Everyone else, suit up and gear up. Sai. Izuku-kun. Izuku. Like hell we're letting them take Eri or kill Bardo's crew. They brought the fight to the Pirate King's home turf, by the end of today, they'll know exactly what it means to do that. Mineta. But what are we supposed to do against an army that big? Izuku. You think having such large numbers means they're invincible? I'm the strategist of this crew, I've already thought up hundreds of battle plans to break through their forces. We're gonna win this, and this is how we're gonna do it. 1 hour later, Baltigo. The entire island is surrounded by world government ships filled with soldiers armed to the teeth. On the island itself are countless skilled agents and rows upon rows of pacifistas lined up like tanks. Leading the agents is Rob Luchi with an unconscious Bartolomeo at his side. He reaches into his coat and pulls out a pocket watch. Just then, a rift in the air slices open in front of him. From the portal walks out Izuku and a chained-up Yuri on the verge of tears. "Luchi? Who are you? Where's Straw Hat?" "Izuku? You'll have to forgive my captain. He's busy at the moment so I came in his stead," Izuku says as he sheathes his black sword and closes the portal. "Luchi? I see. Izuku? We brought the child like you wanted, now relinquish Bardo's group and be gone." "Luchi? What do you mean?" "Izuku? Huh? Luchi? I merely said that if you wanted to see them alive again, you'd have to bring the girl. I never said I wouldn't kill them afterwards." "Izuku? So that's how it is, huh?" Izuku says as he switches his sheathed black blade to his left side and grabs the hilt. "Izuku? Can't say I didn't see that coming." The two stare each other down in silence. Mere seconds pass before they both dash at each other. Instead of attacking each other though, Izuku slashes Bardo and Luchi reaches for Yuri. The child looks up at Luchi and much to his surprise, smirks while sticking out her tongue. Luchi's arm phases through her and her body turns to mist. "Luchi? What?" Luchi turns around to look at Izuku. There he sees Bardo seemingly be pulled into the slash Izuku caused and vanish into thin air. "Izuku? Rest easy Bardo, we'll take it from here. Inhale now, guys." Izuku yells up to the sky. Luchi looks up in confusion. The clouds in the sky then break apart as the residents of Riskana, Smoothie's group, the new giant warrior pirates and the beautiful pirates, descend to the island out of giant portals in the sky. "Luchi? You hid gateways behind the clouds." Hadridan's crew lands on the ground while swinging their weapons. Not only do they destroy several of the ships in the water, but also send the soldiers on the ground flying. "Luchi? You bastard." Luchi looks to Izuku but gets caught off guard and tackled by him. "Izuku? You're coming with me." Izuku exclaims as he slices open a portal that both he and Luchi fall through. They tumble out the other side as the portal closes and quickly separate. Luchi stands up and looks around at his surroundings. They appear to be on some sort of wasteland with magma flowing in the ground. "Luchi? What is this place?" "Izuku? It's an old battlefield where a great man once fought his final battle." Luchi looks to see Izuku bursting out a snow mound in his Machiman form. He stabs his black sword into the ground and powers up to second gear. "Izuku? It's completely isolated so no one's gonna get in our way. Right here, right now, we're gonna fight till only one of us is left standing," Izuku says while raising his fists. Luchi looks at him for a moment with a straight face before smirking, while the pigeon on his shoulder takes off. His body then bulks up, transforming into a half-leopard hybrid. "Luchi? This might be fun then." Chapter 23. Law. "You bastard, an entire world government fleet prepped for a full-scale war is at Baltigo's doorstep and you brought us here." Law yells furiously as he swings his blade at Hawkins, who's trying his best to evade. "Kid. I told you he wasn't trustworthy, Trafalgar." Kid exclaims as both he and Killer try to attack Hawkins as well. Hawkins manages to avoid Killer's scythes but gets knocked aside by Kid's giant mechanical fist. He hits the ground but almost immediately recovers and starts to escape into the jungle. "Killer. You coward." "Nami. He's on the run." "Law. Whatever any of you do, make sure he doesn't leave this island alive." "Luffy. Zoro. Sanji." "Zoro. On it." "Sanji. You got it, Captain." Zoro and Sanji both leap into the woods and chase after Hawkins with both Killer and Katakuri following from behind. "Killer. Fafa, leave it to us." "Katakuri. There's no escape." Meanwhile, Baltigo. Full-blown war is breaking out on the island as Straw Hat Army is fighting off the thousands of soldiers. In the center of the battlefield, Katsuki and Shoto are fighting off enemies back to back. Katsuki. "Stupid Deku making me stay back here and fight off these shrimps." Shoto. "Knock it off. Midoriya trusted us to take down the enemy army while he's busy with their leader. You really think we could take down that powerful a foe while fending off an army of this size?" Katsuki. "Shut up, I know it on your left." Katsuki exclaims as he throws his arm around Shoto's neck and uses him like a pole to swing around and kick an oncoming enemy away. Shoto. "That hurt." Katsuki. "Oh, get over it. If you'd kept your guard up, I wouldn't have had to have saved your ass." Shoto. "Alright then, above you." Shoto says before jumping up and off of Katsuki's shoulders to strike an enemy in the air. Katsuki. "You ass." Shoto. "Keep your guard up." Nearby, Yamato in their hybrid form is facing off against a horde of Cipher Pole agents. Yamato. "Namuji Hyoga." Yamato breathes out a blast of cold air that freezes the agent solid in a block of ice. Yamato. Oi, how far is Robin's group? The pacifista suddenly appears behind Yamato and attempts to attack her. Luckily for Yamato though, the pacifista gets kicked away by an enlarged Smoothie. Smoothie. The boy told Flam to assist them from the air. I gave her a baby transponder snail so she can update me on the situation. Naiko Robin, Shota Izawa, Lemillion, Carrot and the invisible girl are fighting through the army on the way to the main base, where the Rooster's crew is possibly being held captive. Yamato. That's so. Okay. Everyone, try keep the pacifistas here, we need to make things a bit easier for Robin's side. Denki. I'm cool with that, but what's with these pacifistas? Since when do they have shield? Denki exclaims as a pacifista deflects an electrified kick of his using some sort of bubble shield. Denki. What the hell kind of sap is this? Shinso. Beats me, but if it's a bubble we should try popping it. Shinso exclaims as he jumps at the pacifista while cocking his fist back. His fist melds into the shape of a spike and turns black with hockey. Shinso. Iron nail. Shinso yells as he thrusts his fist forward. Instead of popping the bubble though, his fist sinks into it. Shinso. What the my strength. The pacifista attempts to strike Shinso, but he gets pulled out of the way by Tsuyu's tongue wrapping around him. Tsuyu. Shinso-kun, what's wrong? Shinso. I don't know. I felt like all my strength got sapped away the moment I touched the bubble. Kirishima. Are the bubbles made with seawater or something? Just then, Tenya and Maruko run in from the side and both strike the pacifista in the face with blazing front kicks. Maruko. Forget them bubbles, all we gotta do is aim for the guy. Maruko yells as their combined kicks send the pacifista flying. Tenya. Everyone, those of us with fruit powers should focus on the other foes, the rest of should take on these pacifistas in teams, one must distract the robot and bring out its shield while the others attack it. Tsuyu. That sounds like a good idea, Iida-kun. Kirishima. Yeah, as long as we avoid their shields we can totally beat. Before Kirishima can finish his sentence, he gets sent flying seemingly by an invisible force and crashes into a boulder. Tenya. Kirishima-kun. The dust clears to reveal Kirishima laying on the ground, clutching his chest while desperately gasping with smoke coming off his back. Kirishima. Gasp, it hurts, gasp, I can't breathe. Ichako. Kirishima-kun got hurt while he was hardened. Mina. What the hell hit him? Tsuyu. I think it came from that pacifista over there. Zero. Huh. Hey, is it just me, or does that pacifista look a little different? Mina. No, now that you mention it, it does look a little off. Denki. Yeah, I mean it's got wings and everything. Meanwhile. On the desolate wasteland island with earth seeping with magma, a fierce battle is brewing. Clashes of hockey are happening all over the battlefield, with short intervals in between each of them. Each clash visually causes damage to the ground beneath it. On the 15th clash, two figures get sent flying in opposite directions. One of which being Izuku powered up in Gear 2nd Machiman and the other being Hybrid Luchi. They both stop themselves mid-air and rush back at each. They yell as they both throw hackified punches and clash fists. The impact from their clash once again sends them flying. Izuku extends his arm and grabs the ground to break his momentum. Luchi. Rankyaku. Hyobi. While still airborne, Luchi swings his leg and launches a swirl-shaped blast of air like a blade Izuku. Izuku leans far back and avoids the air slash. Luchi. Soru. Luchi rushes at Izuku faster than he can follow and appears right in front of him. Luchi. Shugen. Luchi yells as he tries to stab Izuku's face with 5 hackified fingers. Izuku reacts quickly and evades the attack, only getting grazed in the process. Izuku raises his right leg and delivers a hard kick to Luchi's jaw. Izuku follows up by grabbing Luchi's head with Black Whip. He quickly brings Luchi's head down and delivers a hard knee to the center of his face. Luchi recovers from the blow and breaks out of Izuku's grasp. Izuku holds both his fists at his sides and starts punching rapidly at Luchi. Izuku. Naguriyuki. Luchi. Kami-e. Izuku continues his fast-paced assault, however Luchi manages to dodge Izuku's every attack with ease. Izuku. What the hell's with this guy's body? It's like trying to punch a piece of paper in the wind. While dodging, Luchi closes in on Izuku and lands a strong kick to the face that knocks him on his back. Luchi. Shugen. Luchi tries to stab Izuku while he's down on his back, but Izuku manages to dodge and take to the air. Izuku pulls his club out of his ammunition bag and starts spinning his club on his left to swirl snow and ice around it. Izuku. Himorajiri. Izuku slams his frozen club down on Luchi's skull. Luchi quickly gets back up, catching Izuku off guard. Luchi. Shugen. Luchi thrusts his hand forward and manages to pierce Izuku's shoulder through the snow with his fingers. Izuku winces for a moment but regains his focus. Izuku. Ninja art. Awoken steely body. Izuku flexes his muscles, causing Luchi's fingers to get trapped in Izuku's shoulder. Izuku. You're not getting away now, Nagoriyuki. Izuku punches rapidly with a barrage of blocky fists. The barrage goes on strong until Izuku throws his right fist back and freezes his left. Izuku. Hakyokuyuki. Izuku slams his frozen left fist into Luchi's gut. His extended right fist then bursts apart and reveals his flaming gauntlet. Izuku. Red Hawk. Izuku brings his flaming fist forward and drives it into Luchi's face. Izuku yells with all the air in his lungs as he stops flexing and knocks Luchi off his feet. He stands there panting for a second before he reforms his fists. Luchi. Saru, Tekai and Geppo. Being capable of using 3 of the 6 powers isn't that bad a feat. Luchi says, alarming Izuku. Izuku looks to see Luchi jump back on his feet. Luchi. But, using them at such a level is hardly worth talking about. Izuku. 3 of them? What are you talking about? I only know Saru and Geppo. Luchi. Oh, so you're not aware that you're using Tekai. That explains the poor performance. Izuku. Is he talking about Edshot's technique? Now that I think about it, from the way Robin-san described it to me, they do sound pretty similar. Wow, can't believe I never put 2 and 2 together. Luchi. Allow me to do one final kindness for you by showing how the 6 powers are meant to be used. Seimei Kaiken. Kami Ibushin. Luchi's body suddenly becomes slimmer and smaller, much to the surprise of Izuku. Izuku. What the? Luchi. Saru. Luchi exclaims before vanishing into thin air. Izuku. He got faster. Izuku's eyes glow red as he activates his future vision. He ducks down to avoid Luchi trying to strike his neck from behind with his clawed feet. Izuku tries to grab Luchi's foot, however said agent vanishes in the air before he can grab him. He reappears and strikes Izuku with a hard knee to the face. Izuku stumbles back as Luchi vanishes and reappears on Izuku's right. Luchi. Tobu Shigen. Hibachi. Luchi fires a blazing projectile version of a Shigen that pierces and burns Izuku's shoulder. Izuku. Ack, damn it. Izuku jumps up high in the air to avoid a Rankyaku from Luchi. While in the air, he activates his boots and hovers in place. Snow gathers around his body and forms into a giant cube. The cube bursts apart to reveal him in his Blastman form. Izuku. Let's switch things up. Heavy artillery. Atlas Galaxy. Izuku's forearms rotate as he opens fire on the ground. Each bullet fired proceeds to burst into 4 smaller bullets. Luchi. Kamisori. Luchi darts about in the air in a zigzag motion and does his best to avoid as many bullets as he can. Izuku. That movement, is he combining Saru and Geppo? Crap, I'm hitting him, but I need more power. Hawk shot. Double charge. Using 2 of his Red Hawk capsules, Izuku fires an extra large fireball at Luchi. The fireball hits Luchi causing him to stagger in the air for a moment. Izuku. Now, Yeti gun. Izuku's left arm sparks with green electricity before he launches it at Luchi. His arm hits Luchi and sends him crashing straight to the ground. Izuku reforms his left arm and stares down waiting for the dust to settle. A tempest kick flies out of the dust cloud, causing Izuku to quickly move out of the way with his thrusters. Izuku. Damn it, he's persistent. Izuku's forearms break apart into chunks of snow that swirl around his body and form a snowy twister. The twister dissipates to show Izuku in his Dragonman form. He pulls out his Klimattact and holds it in his right hand. Izuku. Weather egg. Izuku swings his pole and launches an egg up high in the air. Izuku. Mole. Izuku coats his Klimattact in snow and molds it into the shape of a trident. He then freezes the snow in a layer of ice and coats it in hockey. He locks onto Luchi with observation hockey and hurls his trident at him. Luchi avoids the trident that crashes into the ground and leaps up with his leg outstretched. Luchi. Rankyaku. Gaicho. Luchi swings his leg and fires a blast of air in the shape of a bird. The attack manages to land and cuts Izuku's shoulder. Izuku pushes through the pain and dives down. Using his thrusters, he abruptly changes direction and rockets at Luchi. He swings his leg and delivers a speed-boosted kick to Luchi's face and sends him flying over his trident. The clouds at that moment spark with lightning and a bolt shoots out, passing straight through Luchi and connecting to Izuku's Klimattact. Izuku. White blow. While Luchi's still recovering from being hit by lightning, Izuku launches his hackified left fist at him. Luchi takes a hard blow to the gut and gets knocked out of the air. Izuku flies low to the ground to pick his trident back up and Luchi jumps back up on his feet. Luchi leaps at Izuku and Izuku flies straight at him. They both throw a punch and land a hard blow to the face. They grit their teeth as they glare at each other with clashing sparks of hockey. Meanwhile, Baltigo. The battle rages on like a firestorm as the members of the Grand Fleet and young heroes do their best to dwindle the numbers. Running side by side between the army of soldiers is Cavendish and Yuga with their blades drawn. Cavendish. Yuga, let's show them how we dazzle. Yuga. That's exactly what I was thinking. The duo grips their blades tightly and slice through every single soldier in their path. C&Y. Baiken. Swan Lake. The duo come to a stop and each strike a pose somehow sparkling like diamonds. Yuga. Was that a little too bright for them? Cavendish. Seems they can't handle the starlight. On another, less dazzling spot on the battlefield, a massive fire is breaking out. The source of the fire is Tetsu, who's in overheat and thrashing through everyone in his path. Tetsu. What's the matter, can't handle the heat? Then stay away from the furnace searing. Tetsu coats his right fist in hockey and focuses his heat in his fist. He then charges straight forward, blasting all those around him away. Tetsu. Ballista Yasha, anyone else want some? Looking down, Tetsu can't see that the ground he's standing on appears somewhat like a liquid. Tetsu. Is that you, Hananuki? Stay back man, I'm heated up and you could really get yourself. Tetsu gets cut off as a fist shoots out from the ground and hits his jaw. Tetsu gets knocked out of overheat, sent flying up into the air. He crashes down to the ground in a nearby group of students. Hyoka. Tetsu. Where'd you come from? Tetsu. Ow, 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 I think my jaw broke from that one punch. Inasa. What in the world hit you? Tetsu. It was that. Tetsu exclaims as the group can see a figure walking up to them. Bajiro. Is that Jinbei-sensei? Hyoka. Last I checked Jinbei-sensei was blue and didn't have wings. Plus, this guy seems a lot younger. Okoyami. They appear to be about the same size though. His son perhaps. Bajiro. I think he would have told us if he had one. Inasa. Maybe he's. The Jinbei-looking figure raises his hand and points it at the group. A bright glow emits from his palm which causes the group to start running. Inasa. A bucking pacifista. Inasa yells as beam hits the ground and sends them all flying. Elsewhere. Zoro, Sanji, Katakuri and Killer are running through the jungle in search of Hawkins. Zoro narrows his eye as it glows red. Zoro. Oi, cook. Sanji. Yeah, I see him. Katakuri. You two move on ahead and stop him in his tracks. We'll follow up and restrain him. Killer. Fafa, you're just letting them have all the fun. Zoro. I can knock him down easy, don't know if the same can be said about twirly brows here. Sanji. You can't even keep up with me. You'll be left standing around like a moss wall. Zoro. We'll see about that NL Santmrik. Sanji. Ifrit Jamb. Sanji engulfs his legs in blue lightning like fire and Zoro's swords become engulfed in green smoke and emit black lightning. Zoro. Ringoku Onigiri. Sanji. Muton shot. Zoro slashes forwards with all of his swords and launches a hockey-infused attack. Sanji speeds up and leaps forward with his leg raised in front of him. A bit ahead into the forest, Hawkins is sitting on a fallen tree and waiting. In a split second, Hawkins gets struck in the chest by Zoro's onigiri and Sanji's foot. He gets sent flying and crashes into a hard tree. Thus then Zoro and the others arrive on the scene. Sanji. Heh, my attack hit first. Zoro. Mine did more damage. Sanji. Like hell it did. Katakuri. Focus you two. Katakuri says as Hawkins pushes himself out of the tree and walks towards the four of them. Killer. No damage. Damn it, he's got a dull in him. Hawkins. He took both attacks yet remains conscious and still in one piece. As I thought, that boy of yours is a lot more durable than he looks. Hawkins says causing Katakuri, Zoro and Sanji's eyes to widen. Zoro. What the hell do you mean by that? Hawkins. You haven't put it together. In any event, I recommend not attacking me for now. Not unless you want him to suffer even more than he already is. Meanwhile. Luchi. Haha, what's wrong? I barely touched you that time. Is your body that frail? Luchi says referring to Izuku kneeling down on the ground and panting heavily. Blood is seen dripping from cuts on his chest and smoke can also be seen coming off it. Izuku. Smirk, I just had a little bit of a fall there. Damn it, it's the same thing that happened earlier. What's happening? There's no one on this island, so who doing this is? Izuku stands back up and takes a deep breath. He raises his fists and narrows his gaze. Izuku. Well, whatever. I need to focus here. Izuku leaps at Luchi and throws a punch. Luchi. Seimei Kaiken. Kaiho Tekai. Itsugi. Luchi returns back to his regular size and blocks the punch with his hardened chest. Izuku can feel the shock of his own punch reverberate through his arm. He winces from the pain in his bones and pulls back both his fists. Izuku. Smash Gatling. Luchi. Shigen. Midoriya. Izuku punches rapidly with both fists, and Luchi rapidly tries to stab Izuku with both his clawed index fingers. Their attacks more often than not clash against each other, but both manage to get several good hits in here and there. Izuku activates his future sight to predict Luchi's next few attacks. He quickly ducks down and avoids Luchi's attack. He then lands a hard straight kick to Luchi's stomach that knocks him back with his feet dragging on the ground. Luchi jumps up in the air and uses Geppo to ascend even higher. He then proceeds to fire several Rankyaku down at Izuku. Izuku flies low to the ground and makes use of his future sight to avoid the attacks raining down on him. He changes direction and flies diagonally up to Luchi. Izuku. Raiaya. Luchi. Graiaya. The two yell from the top of their lungs as they enter a fierce exchange midair, trading blow for blow. The exchange ends with each of them landing a hard blow to the face. Izuku is sent crashing straight down to the ground, while Luchi get knocked up higher into the air. Luchi recovers and descends down to the ground. Izuku pulls himself out of his crater and lowers the percentage of 1 for all down to 70. He deactivates it around his torso and legs and focuses all of his 70% into his arms, causing them to bulk up. Izuku leaps at Luchi, who in turn leaps at him. Izuku. Gomu Kenpo. Vulture Gatling. Luchi. Shugen. Midoriya. Izuku launches a barrage of powered-up punches, while Luchi tries to stab him repeatedly with all 10 of his fingers. The two try their best to avoid each other's attacks while still attacking, however neither are fast enough to do so completely. Izuku gets grazed with every few blows and even gets stabbed several times. Luchi on the other hand manages to use Tekai to tank whatever blows he does take. Seeing as this is getting him nowhere, Izuku activates his future sight once more. He allows Luchi to stab him in his right pectoral muscle and quickly flexes to ensnare him. Izuku powers his left arm up to 90% and hits Luchi with an extra powerful punch to the face. This punch is strong enough to knock out one of Luchi's teeth and force his fingers out of Izuku's chest without Izuku relaxing his muscles. Izuku brings his percentage back down to 86% and allows 1 for all to cover his whole body again. Luchi's back hits the ground, but he bounces back onto his feet. Luchi. Rankyaku. Gaicho Sakusha. Luchi spins rapidly on one leg and fires a high-speed barrage of bird-shaped Rankyakus. Izuku reacts by drawing his 3 blades and activating Asura. Using all 9 blades, Izuku deflects all of Luchi's attacks. Luchi. Tobu Shigen. Bachi. While still spinning and launching air blades, Luchi flicks his clawed finger and fires a high-speed air projectile. Izuku sees the projectile coming, but is unable to avoid it while still deflecting the other slashes. Izuku grits his teeth and takes the blow head-on. The impact is hard enough that his head gets bent back from the impact. Blood then spurts from Izuku's face like a red fountain. Luchi stops spinning, and Izuku's Asura fades. Izuku drops the blade in his right hand to the ground and covers his face with his hand. Izuku tries to straighten his neck, however his head hangs low and he faces the ground. Luchi. Ho, I'm impressed. Most would be screaming their lungs out in pain or rolling on the ground in agony. Blood drips down the right side of Izuku's face and hits the ground. Izuku takes his hand off his face and looks at his blood-stained snowy arm. He clenches his fist and reaches for his bandana. He ties it around the right side of his face, staining the white skull on it red. Izuku raises his head and glares at Luchi furiously with his left eye. Izuku. I am not that weak. Chapter 24. Enki. Jaiya. The yellow electric boy screams his lungs out in terror as he and several others run away from laser beams and air blasts fired at them from the winged pacifista. Enki. What's with this one? It's got way worse powers and nothing we do is making a dent on it. Despair. Ursa's shock. The young war machine says before unleashing a small-scale pressurized air bomb. Denki's group gets blasted into the air and sent flying by the blast. The electric boy would crash head first into a steeled-up Tetsutetsu. Denki. Ow out of the frying pan and straight into a steel beam. Tetsutetsu. Huh. Oi, you guys get out of here, it isn't safe. Mina. Where we just got flung from was dangerous, how much more dangerous could here be? Mina stops speaking as she looks up to see S-Shark pointing his glowing palm in their direction. The and there's another one. Just before the young cyborg can fire off his beam, Yamato charges in and slams her club into his face. Using all her strength, Yamato sends S-Shark flying straight into an oncoming S-Bear. Yamato. Shit, the troubles just keep piling on. The and Yamato. Ichako. Yamato-chan, what are these things? Yamato. They're called Seraphims. They're pacifistas made with the blood of Lunarians and the 7 warlords. Hiroshima. Wait, what's a Lunarian? Yamato. No time to explain everything. Just know that these things have dangerous powers and they're invulnerable while the flames on their backs are lit. Tetsu. What? Then how the hell are we supposed to beat them? The two Seraphim get back up and begin marching to the group. Before they can take another step further though, S-Shark gets frozen in a giant block of ice by Shoto, and S-Bear gets hit with an explosive kick to the face from Kitsuki. Shoto. Invulnerable doesn't mean unstoppable, you know. Kitsuki. You little runts'll make great punching bags. Satsuna. Bakugo. Shiro. Todoroki. Kitsuki lands on the ground and draws his blades. The smoke from his earlier explosion clears to reveal S-Bear not damaged at all. Kitsuki. Smirko, this'll be fun. At the same time Shoto notices something moving through his ice. Shoto. Shoot, so he can swim through my ice. Shoto realizes before blasting the ice with black flames to try and burn S-Shark. When the ice fully melts, he can see that the cyborg is gone. Shoto. Look out. Shoto yells as the ground in front of the group begins to ripple. Shiro. Oh shit. Before S-Shark can emerge, a giant stone pillar rises up from the ground and launches him up into the air. Pixie Bob. So you can swim through the ground, eh? Well, tough luck, that's my turf. S&M. Crying Pixie Bob. Pixie Bob. Why the hell do you brats look so relieved? I just stalled it, it's not like I can beat this thing, get the hell away from here before it climbs down. S&M. Ah, right. Pixie Bob. Ugh, kids these days. Tomoko, hit M while he's isolated. Pixie Bob yells out. On a nearby stone tower, Ragdoll is standing on the top holding a striped silver pole. Ragdoll. Alright, leave it to me, Thunder breed tempo. Ragdoll yells as she swings her pole down, causing a thunder cloud in the sky to strike S-Shark down with a bolt of lightning. Ragdoll. Yes, it worked. S-Shark manages to get back up looking relatively uninjured despite smoke coming off its body. Ragdoll. Crap, it didn't work. The cyborg scoops up some of the ground beneath its feet like water before leaping at Ragdoll. Mineta. Not so fast. S-Shark gets hit in the air by a giant purple ball, coming from another nearby stone tower with some of the snipers on it. Mineta. Ha, I may not be the toughest, but I'm pretty confident in my quirk. S-Shark remains with an indifferent expression on its face. It then proceeds to use its fruit power to swim through and out Mineta's giant grape ball, unsticking it and allowing it to fall to the ground. Mineta. Oh come on, that's just not fair. Pixie Bob. Please tell me there's actually a way to beat them. Yamato. When their flames go out is when they're vulnerable and take damage. Unfortunately, they only go out while they're using their powers. Pixie Bob. Well, ain't that just a convenient time for us? Shoto. Anything else? Yamato. Well, if they're here with the world government, someone's gotta be giving them orders through a control chip. Shoto. Control chip. Yamato. The Seraphims will follow the orders given to them by the person in possession of it. If we can find it, then we can put these nuisances to good use. Pixie Bob. There's over 100,000 soldiers on this island and you want us to find one specific guy. Pixie Bob yells at Yamato, unaware of S-Shark swimming towards her. The Lunarian boy leaps out of the ground to attack, but gets shut down by a white-hot kick to the face from Kitsuki. Kitsuki. Smirk gotcha while you were using your powers, bet that stung. Kitsuki says pridefully before blasting S-Shark with an explosion from his boot. Kitsuki. Quit complaining and do what you gotta do, you're pros ain't ya? Shoto. If you need time. Shoto stomps his leg on the ground and freezes S-Bear and a large number of agents in black ice. Shoto. We can gladly provide it. Meanwhile. Nami. He's got Izuku's doll in him. Nami says referring to Hawkins sitting on a stump in the middle of their base and drinking a cup of tea. Zoro. Yeah, meaning we can't lay a finger on him, since all the damage we do is gonna get reflected back on Izuku. Killer. That being said, you and Blackleg sure did a real number on him earlier. Nami. What are you two thinking? Zoro. How were we supposed to know he had a doll in him? Katakuri. Blackleg, Broly and Pudding are making their way to Dressrosa through the mirror world. Even so though it'll take some time to reach. Any luck on trying to reach Riskana? Ginbei. It's no use. No one's responding to the transponder snail at home or on Izuku-kun's ship. Brook. Why on earth aren't they answering? You don't think they all went to fight, did they? Law. Don't be ridiculous, going against an army of that scale with a little number of forces they have on hand would be suicide. Hawkins. Indeed. The chance of them winning the battle without casualties is roughly 3%. Kid. Oi, Trafalgar, can't you just pull the doll out of his body with your ability so we can kill him? Law. If I could do that, I would have done it already. Usopp. Oi, Killer, didn't you beat this guy before? Doesn't he have some sort of weakness? Killer. Last time I beat him by cutting off his arm and removing the doll. And I was only able to do that because kid who he used as his doll didn't have a left arm. So unless your squirt's missing a body part there's nothing we can do, fa-fa-fa-fa. Katakuri. His arm. Blah. No dice, we healed it after it got reattached, so it's a part of his body. There's no weak spots at all. Hawkins. No, there certainly is one. Hawkins says, garnering everyone's attention. He puts his cup of tea down and proceeds to point at his right eye. Hawkins. I can definitely be damaged here, but you'll have to be accurate enough to not go further than my eye. Hawkins says, causing a wave of dread to flow over the Straw Hats. Usopp. Oh oi, what's that supposed to mean? Hawkins. Any damage the doll host receives also get reflected back onto my dolls. Seems that child is in the middle of a difficult battle. Hearing that causes the Straw Hats to grow a bit anxious. Luffy. Oi. Luffy steps towards Hawkins with the Straw Hats watching him. The birds on the island begin flying away as if they're distressed and waves start crashing heavily against the coast. What sounds like a beating drum echoes throughout the island's jungle. Hawkins looks up and sees Luffy's shadowed face. His hair is seemingly floating upwards and he's glaring at him with glowing red ring-like pupils. Luffy. My crew better be okay. Meanwhile. Luchi is currently darting about the battlefield dodging projectile after projectile fired by Izuku's slingshot. Izuku. Damn it, my aim's off. Though I guess that's cause my left eye's weaker. Izuku shoves his slingshot into his bag and gets in a stance. Izuku. Guess I'd better stick to close combat. Izuku charges towards Luchi who comes to a stop and locks onto him. Once Izuku gets close enough, Luchi swings his claws to try to stab him in the face. Izuku reacts just in time and dodges Luchi's attack. He counters with a heavy punch to the stomach. Luchi reels back from the blow and coughs up some blood. He soon counters with a Tekai and Haki hardened punch to Izuku's face. Izuku can feel a crack in his jaw but pushes through the pain and swiftly sweeps Luchi's legs. While Luchi's still in the process of falling, Izuku raises his right leg up in the air and bulks it up. Izuku. United Smash Axe. Izuku slams his foot down on Luchi's back and smashes him to the ground, creating a large crater. Izuku lifts his foot up, but before Luchi can get off the ground, Izuku grabs him by the back of the head and bulks up his arm. Izuku yells before slamming Luchi's face into the ground, causing the crater to grow even bigger. Luchi manages to force himself and hits Izuku with a point-blank Rinkaku. Izuku manages to save himself from being slashed with his haki, but still gets pushed back from the force. Izuku digs his heels into the ground and comes to a screeching halt. He then proceeds to punch his fist and arm into the ground. Izuku jumps up in the air with a thick black whip strand connected from his arm into the hole in the ground. Izuku. Gomu Kenpo. Izuku starts retracting his black whip, with the ground being heard cracking as a result. Izuku then rips a giant ball of rock and magma out of the ground and raises it over his head. Izuku. Wrecking ball. Izuku screams as he tries to slam the ball down onto Luchi. Luchi. Seimei Kaiken. Kami Ibushin Kamisori. Luchi slims down and zigzags around the giant ball and goes straight for Izuku. Luchi. Rakushiki Ogi. Luchi appears in front of Izuku with both his fists held in front of him and pointed at Izuku. Luchi. Rakugan. Luchi fires off a shockwave from his fists that blasts through Izuku. Izuku's eye whiteouts as his black whip dissipates. He stops flying and crashes down to the ground. He gets up on a knee and starts violently coughing up blood. Izuku. What the hell was that? It completely bypassed my haki. It felt like it just ignored my body to attack my organs directly. It's almost like cryo. Luchi lands on the ground in front of Izuku and returns his body back to normal. Luchi. You should realize it by now, the gap in our power makes this struggle pointless. Just give up and die now, continuing to fight like this is pathetic. Izuku. Pant pathetic. I'd say pant it's more pathetic for the world government's strongest military might to try and kidnap a little girl, all because some fatta celestial dragon told them to. Luchi. PFFT, ha 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 ha. Izuku. What's so funny? Luchi. You think the celestial dragons would send a fleet of this magnitude because they wanted a small child for the novelty of it? How ridiculous. Izuku. Huh. Well then why the hell are you trying to take Yuri? Luchi. You think we didn't notice the effect that child had on Bartholomew Kuma? An ability such as hers had never been seen before and powers far above the celestial dragons have taken an interest in her. Izuku. What? Luchi. Her being a mere slave to the celestial dragons honestly seems like a lavish life compared to what awaits her. Now enough talk, surrender and you can meet a swift end. Izuku, still panting, manages to stand back up while clutching his ribs. He reaches into his bag and pulls out what looks like a small green spherical pill very reminiscent of a jawbreaker. Izuku. I'm not giving up now and no matter what, I'll never let you take Eri. Max. Izuku flicks the ball into his mouth and crushes it between his teeth. He swallows the pieces and lets his arms hang at his side. He cracks his neck and raises his fists. Izuku. The Max balls are an experimental painkiller drug, so I can't be sure of the after effects. It allows me to ignore all the physical damage my body's endured up until this point and casts aside all my exhaustion. However, it's not like I've actually recovered my injuries, and not being able to feel them is a problem in and of itself. And to top it all off, the effects only last for 15 minutes. After that, all of it comes rushing back into me. So in other words, the ground beneath Izuku's feet cracks and begins to freeze as a cold wind wafts through the air. Izuku. I've only got 15 minutes to win this. Luchi leaps at Izuku and swings his leg to try and scratch him with his claws. Izuku dodges by taking to the air with his wings. Luchi follows after him and tries to stab him multiple times with his fingers. Luchi. Shigen. Orin. Izuku uses his future sight to avoid Luchi's attempts at stabbing him. While he's dodging and has Luchi's focus, Izuku manages to stealthily wrap his tail around Luchi's leg. Luchi. What? Using the opening to his advantage, Izuku spins rapidly in the air which causes Luchi to spin with him. After reaching a sufficient speed, Izuku releases his grip on Luchi, sending him crashing down to the ground at high speeds. Izuku comes to a stop and spreads his arms out. Izuku. Let's try something new. Snow emits from Izuku's body and forms a small storm. The storm quickly subsides to reveal Izuku's torso covered in snow and arms molded into edges similar to Machiman. His tail now seems thicker and ends in cannon barrel like the one from Blastman. Izuku. Gear 3rd. Chimeraman. Izuku in his new form dives down to the ground and punches it hard. Snow spreads across the ground and several snow donuts rise up from it. Izuku. Muso donuts. Izuku sends the donuts towards Luchi who's laying on the ground. He gets up to find himself completely surrounded by snow donuts. Izuku. Yuki Ginchaku. All the donuts attempt to hit Luchi with a barrage of Hakified and Blockified fists. Using observation Haki and Kami, Luchi manages to dodge the onslaught of fists. Izuku takes off into the air and raises his right leg up into the air. Snow gathers around Izuku's leg and forms several whip-like appendages with feet at the end of them. Izuku. Yuki Hayden. Izuku throws his leg down and sends his whip-like appendages down at Luchi. Luchi looks up and grits his teeth as he sees the oncoming attack incoming. Unable to avoid both the blocky fists and Izuku's frost feet, Luchi consequently finds himself beaten down by both of them. Izuku breaks his leg off from his attack and then proceeds to point the cannon barrel on his tail down at Luchi. The barrel glows with a brilliant blue as the snow surrounding it appears to be melting a bit. Izuku. Burn cannon. Izuku fires a large beam of blue flames and drags it diagonally across the ground where Luchi is getting attacked, consequently melting several of his snow donuts in the process. Izuku stops firing the beam and reforms his tail. From the smoldering earth where Izuku fired his flames, Luchi shoots out and heads straight for Izuku like a yellow bullet. A severe burn mark is clearly visible on his chest. He transforms into his full beast form and crunches into Izuku's shoulder. Izuku lets out a scream of pain before kicking Luchi off of him with both his feet. Luchi transforms back into his man-beast form and fires two Gaicho Rankyukas at Izuku. The attacks cut into Izuku's chest like an X and knocks him away. Izuku recovers and creates more snow donuts from the snow on his body. He sends them after Luchi who uses Geppo to jump higher in the air to avoid them. Izuku. Double Black Hydra. Izuku extends both his Hakified blocky fists towards Luchi. As they extend, 8 arms branch off of each of them and head towards Luchi's. Luchi sees this coming and grips his right wrist with his left hand. Luchi. Tobushugen. Hibachi. Luchi flicks 4 fingers and fires 4 large fireballs that melt through all of Izuku's extended arms. He then proceeds to go back to dodging Izuku's Muso donuts. Izuku. I'm running out of time here. I'll have to catch him off guard and finish this in one go. Izuku says to himself as he begins flying towards Luchi. Luchi sees Izuku approaching him and takes aim with his 4 fingers. Izuku. If I watched him do this right then. Izuku breathes out and focuses more of one for all in his legs. He widens his eye and kicks off the air. He kicks off the air rapidly until he ends up a green blur traveling in a zigzag motion. Luchi. Impossible, is he? Izuku zigzags in a small space until he in a burst of speed shoots up in the air. Luchi's eyes widen as Izuku's upside-down face appears right in front of his. Izuku. Axle drive. Luchi looks up to see Izuku's red-hot flaming foot right above his face. The flames violently intensify until they turn white hot. Izuku. Rendered jam. The thruster on Izuku's boot activates on full power. Before Luchi can do anything, Izuku drives his speed-boosted, blazing foot into the side of his face. Izuku. Flamage shot. Izuku with all the power in his leg and the extra boost from his boot, kicks Luchi down to the ground like a meteorite. Luchi hits the ground hard, creating a large crater. Luchi's not given a moment to rest as all the donuts hit him while he's down with blocky fists. The fists pull back, allowing Luchi some breathing room. Luchi, laying there indented in the ground, slowly opens his eyes which immediately widen. He then gets crushed by a giant hackified snow fist surging with green electricity. The fist pulls back only for another one to quickly take its place and crush Luchi. Izuku. Gomu Kenpo. Thunderbird Gatling. Izuku screams out loud enough that his voice starts breaking as he relentlessly pummels Luchi with a barrage of giant fists. With each punch, the island shakes and begins to freeze over. Magma erupts from various cracks that continue to form as Izuku's fists break the battlefield. Izuku continues his fierce assault without showing any signs of slowing down. After several minutes, Izuku feels enormous pain suddenly engulf his body and throws up blood. He manages to end his barrage with one final punch. The giant fist breaks on impact and erupts into an enormous electrical snowstorm. Izuku's other fist simply cracks and falls apart into pieces. Izuku's body relaxes as he starts falling out of the air. He hits the ground where he just lays there for panting for a moment. Izuku. Holy crap, oh god, everything hurts, I really need to improve the max balls. Izuku reaches into his bag and pulls out a large jug of water. He takes a big sip before letting the rest of the water wash over him. He tosses the jug to the side before struggling to get up. Izuku. But at least I won. So now, I just need to. Izuku's eye widens and glows red as he suddenly senses an incredibly intense presence. Izuku turns to the crater where the presence appears to be coming from. Just then a giant mass of black flames appears out of nowhere. Izuku. What the? The dark flames burn menacingly for a moment before suddenly vanishing. Izuku can hear the sound of footsteps coming from the crater, causing his blood to run cold. Luchi. Impressive. You've done well to survive this long and push me to this point. Luchi's voice as coldly as Izuku can begin to see a figure coming out from the crater. It appears to be Luchi in his hybrid form. However, his body appears to be far larger and slimmer, though not to the same degree as Seimei Kaiken. His hair has become flame-like with a long mane running down his back and ending on his tail, with even his beard becoming a dark flame ball. His claws appear sharper and longer, and a stream of dark fire floats around his body. Luchi. Grin as a reward, I let you experience a hell unlike any other. Chapter 25. Izuku. What the hell is this? Izuku says in utter shock at Luchi's sudden transformation. Luchi. You're more surprised than I thought you'd be. Well, whatever. This boy is the power of an awakened carnivorous zone. The pinnacle of devil fruit power and the last thing you'll ever see. Izuku. So this is an awakened zone type. It's pretty different from the awakened parameshas I've seen. Visually speaking, it's not that drastic a change, but the power emanating off him is on another level. Luchi. I hope you savor this moment while it lasts. Luchi says with an eerie smirk. In a split second, he suddenly appears driving his knee into Izuku's stomach. A loud cracking sound is heard followed by Izuku coughing up blood. Luchi chuckles to himself before launching Izuku. Luchi. Renkyaku. Gaicho. Luchi swings his leg and launches 3 bird-shaped air blades that slice Izuku's chest. Blood sprays as Izuku hits the ground while clutching his chest. Izuku. Ow, damn it, he slashed through my hockey like it was nothing, and I think he broke a few ribs from that knee. Luchi. Now's not the best time for a nap. Luchi says as he suddenly appears next to Izuku before kicking him in the back and knocking him up in the air. Luchi. Shugen. Izuku winces as he feels Luchi's claws tear through his skin and hockey. Luchi. What's wrong, where's all that bravado from before? Luchi slams his fists down just below Izuku's throat and just above his waist, while at the same time hitting Izuku in the center of his back with his knee. Izuku screams as Luchi pushes him down harder on his knee. Luchi. Renkyaku. Luchi fires an air slash against Izuku's back that launches him in the air. Using Soru, Luchi appears up above Izuku. Luchi. Shugen. Luchi launches himself downwards at Izuku using Geppo and proceeds to stab him in the chest with all 5 of his fingers. Using his remaining momentum, Luchi goes crashing with Izuku into the ground, causing his claws to sink deeper into the young boy's chest. Luchi stands up and raises his hand with Izuku's body hanging off his fingers. He swings his hand and tosses the young pirate to the side. Luchi. Come now, certainly you're not finished already. That would mean I'd transformed for nothing then. Izuku lays there on the ground panting heavily while still sharply glaring at Luchi with his eye. Luchi. HMPH, your spirit is certainly still strong, that's for sure. Perhaps you just need a bit more motivation. Luchi walks up to Izuku with a sinister grin plastered on his face. Luchi. Let me tell you this while you're still conscious enough to understand me. Your friends on that island, they're going to die without a doubt. Izuku. What are you talking about? Luchi. Right now on Baltigo is the world government's strongest military weapons, the Seraphim. Izuku's eye widens upon hearing Luchi say that. Izuku. Those things they're there? Luchi. Oh, so you're already aware of what they are. Glad I don't have to waste time explaining the severity of their situation. No matter how big an army you have, they stand no chance against the Seraphim. I'm sure they've already realized as much by now and are most likely trying to stop those two monsters with the only thing capable of doing so, the Seraphim control chip. But. Luchi reaches into the pocket of his pants. He pulls out a small transparent cube that has some sort of black ball inside it. Luchi. I doubt they'll have any luck finding it on that island. Izuku stares in shock at the cube Luchi's juggling casually in his hand. Luchi. HMPH, seems you've realized what you've done. By bringing me, you've damned your friends to a death at the hands of those unstoppable abominations. And their only hope of survival is the non-existent chance of you beating me and recovering this chip. Tell me, how does it feel knowing you've led your closest allies straight to their death? Luchi gets cut off as a burst of Conqueror's haki erupts from Izuku on the ground. Luchi. Ho, now that's more like it. Izuku rolls over so that he's on his stomach and uses Black Whip to reach into his bag. He pulls out 4 green balls and places them in front of his head. He manages to lift his head up and slams his face over the balls. He crunches down on them while they're in his mouth and swallows the shattered pieces. Izuku. The effects of the max balls double with each one I eat in a short period of time. 1 ball gives me 15 minutes, 2 gives me 30, 3 gives me an hour, 4 gives me 2, and 5 gives me 4. Izuku gets up and takes on his gear second stance. Electricity sparks from his body and the ground begins to freeze. Izuku. Of course the after effects double all the same. I don't know if I'll be able to even walk much less stand after this. But that doesn't matter right now. Izuku transforms into his Chimeraman form and raises his head to glare angrily at Luchi. Izuku. I'm gonna beat you. Luchi. Heh, give it your best shot. The two of them yell as they both throw a hackified punch and clash fists. The ground beneath them cracks and sinks as they both try their hardest to overpower each other. Izuku slowly begins increasing the percentage of 1 for all in his fist to try and gain the upper hand. This amounts to naught though as Luchi ends up overpowering Izuku and knocks him back. Izuku remains standing by digging his heels into the ground and arching his back. He comes to a stop and coats his fists in black whips. Izuku. Smash Gatling. Izuku fires a barrage of high-speed punches at Luchi. Luchi. Kami-e. Luchi moves through Izuku's onslaught of punches like a piece of paper in the wind. He tries to stab Izuku in the face using his hand, but Izuku avoids that using his future vision. Izuku hackifies his teeth and proceeds to bite down on Luchi's hand. Luchi. Ack you little. Luchi punches Izuku in the face with his free hand, which only ends up causing the Greenet to bite down harder. Getting tired of this, Luchi bites into Izuku's shoulder himself. Izuku gasps out in pain, causing him to release Luchi's hand. Luchi wraps his tail around Izuku's waist and points his fists at Izuku. Luchi. Side-ire in. Rakugan. Luchi launches a powerful shockwave from his fists that passes through Izuku's body. Izuku's eye whites out as he almost passes out from the pain. He hangs on to consciousness and quickly comes back to his senses. He grabs hold of Luchi's arms and points the cannon in his tail at Luchi's stomach. Izuku. Thunder burst. Izuku fires a point-blank burst of electricity like a superpowered taser. Much to Izuku's shock though, Luchi suffers little to no ill effects from the attack. Luchi smirks before breaking free from Izuku's grip. He stomps down on Izuku's cannon before hitting with a punch to the face that knocks him off his feet. Izuku rolls on the ground and quickly gets back on his feet while throwing his arm back and twisting. His gauntlet bursts into flames beneath his snow and he charges at Luchi. Izuku. Firestorm rifle. Luchi throws his blazing fist forward while rapidly untwisting it. He slams it into Luchi's hackified gut. Luchi stands there unfazed and stops Izuku's attack by simply grabbing his arm. He hackifies and wraps his tail around Izuku's waist again. Izuku quickly pulls his arm free and activates his future sight. Luchi. Shugen. Madara. Izuku crosses his arms and hackifies his entire body. Luchi then tries to stab Izuku rapidly with all 10 of his fingers. Though unable to fully stop Luchi's assault, Izuku's haki is able to stop his claws from piercing too deep. Izuku bulks up his arms and uncrosses them while unleashing a wave of Conqueror's Haki to break away from Luchi's attack and his tail. Luchi hops back and swings his leg to launch a swirl-shaped blade of air at Izuku. Luchi. Renkyaku. Hyobi. Izuku quickly creates a large crucifix-shaped blade out of snow, hackifies it, and raises it above his head. The blade catches fire as Izuku brings it down. Izuku. Kitsunebi Ryu. Deshinken. Izuku creates a shockwave and fires a flaming slash that cuts through Luchi's air blade. Luchi hackifies his arm and proceeds to deflect Izuku's flying slash attack. He looks down at his arm to see it bleeding from a cut. Izuku. United Smash. Luchi looks up to see Izuku appear above him with his right fist drastically enlarged. He remains motionless as Izuku swings his fist and hits Luchi hard in the face. Izuku. Pistol. Izuku clicks his tongue, annoyed as he'd expected to at least knock Luchi off his feet. He lands on the ground and quickly jumps back to get some space between the two of them. Luchi stands there, seemingly fidgeting with something in his mouth. He reaches his hand in and pulls out a tooth. Luchi. HMPH, getting better. Izuku. Seriously, all that and all I did was knock a tooth out. I mean it's something, but still, damn it, crap, I didn't want to have to do this, but I need more firepower. Izuku scans the area with his eye until it lands on his black sword still stabbed into the ground. Izuku quickly makes a dash for it using Kamisori. Luchi. It's impressive how you learned to use Kamisori simply by watching me. Izuku looks up in shock to see Luchi appear above him. Luchi. But you'll never escape with speed like that. Luchi slams his fists down on Izuku's skull, sending him face first into the ground near a stream of magma. The side of Izuku's face gets burned a bit, however he quickly gets up and dashes for his sword again. He pulls it out of the ground and turns around to face Luchi. Luchi. Heh, calling for reinforcements. Izuku. Smirk, no, just the heavy artillery. Izuku says as he slices open a portal in the ground and jumps up into the air with skywalk. He puts two fingers in his mouth and whistles loudly. A black blur then flies out of the portal, which closes shortly after, and carries Izuku on its back. Izuku. Lend me a hand, Kuro. The giant raven caws loudly as it soars through the air with Izuku on its back. Luchi. A bird. Izuku. Open fire. Kuro caws loudly as several small holes appear on her chest and along her wings. She then fires an array of bullets at Luchi from those holes while diving down towards him. Luchi, initially caught off guard, proceeds to attempt to dodge Kuro's bullets. Once they get close enough, Kuro transforms into her iron pirate form and Izuku equips her. As they land, Izuku tries to land a blow on Luchi with his large mechanical left fist. Luchi manages to dodge the fist, however Izuku and Kuro act quickly by following up and punching Luchi with their large right fist. While Luchi's still in contact with the fist, Izuku's arm takes in air and bursts into flames. Izuku. Hikiian. Luchi gets completely engulfed by a stream of flames fired by the large arm. Using Geppo, he breaks out of the stream of flames, but then sees the other mechanical arm inflated and pointed at him. Izuku. Coup de vent. Izuku fires a blast of compress air that sends Luchi flying. Izuku leaps into the air and separates from Kuro, who transforms back into a bird. Izuku lands on her saddle and grabs hold of the handlebars. One for all flows through Izuku's Haki and through the handlebars to charge up Kuro. The bird speeds up and flies straight at Luchi while spinning like a drill. Luchi comes to a stop with Geppo only for Kuro to ram straight into his stomach. Izuku. Neo Black Comet. Luchi's Haki manages to prevent Kuro's beak from actually piercing into him. Kuro's momentum, however, can't be stopped and he ends up getting sent flying once again. Izuku. Keep after him, Kuro. Izuku pours more energy from One for All into Kuro, causing her to speed up even faster than before. Izuku stands up on Kuro's back and creates two large crucifix-shaped blades he holds in each hand. He coats them both in Haki and ignites them in black flames. Izuku. Oden Notoryu. The blades both extend as Izuku crosses them over his chest. Just as Luchi opens his eyes, he's only able to catch a quick glimpse of Izuku and Kuro before they reach him. Izuku uncrosses his blazing blades and slashes Luchi across chest with them. Izuku. Morujaiken. Luchi gasps for air as blood sprays from his chest. He falls to the ground as Izuku and Kuro instead fly upwards into the air. Once they reach an appropriate height, they stay in place with Kuro flapping her wings. Izuku raises his hands above his head and forms a ball of compressed black whips between them. The ball continues to grow bigger until grows till about twice Kuro's size. Izuku. Condor Storm. Izuku points the ball at Luchi and proceeds to fire a barrage of giant fists down at Luchi. The fists all hit their target as they keep Luchi pinned down to the ground. Meanwhile, Kuro takes a deep breath to fill her lungs with air. Once she reaches maximum capacity, her chest glows red before she breathes out a giant stream of flames down on Luchi. Izuku dissipates the giant black ball and instead holds his hands in front of him while taking aim at Luchi's aura. A yellow glow forms between his palms as Izuku locks onto his target. Izuku, eat this radical. Just then, a bird-shaped blast of air flies out of the flames and hits Kuro in her right eye. The bird cries out in pain as it stops breathing fire. Izuku, Kuro, Luchi. How cute, now you and your pet match. Luchi suddenly flies up at the two of them from the ground using Kamisori and presses his fists against Kuro's chest. Luchi, Rakugan. Luchi fires off a shockwave that passes straight through Kuro's body. The bird's eye whites out as she passes out from the shock. Luchi quickly moves using Kamisori so that he's above Izuku and raises his leg up in the air. Izuku raises and bulks up his arms while coating them in haki for defense. Luchi brings his leg down and clashes against Izuku's arms. Izuku and Kuro both get sent crashing down to the ground from the force of Luchi's kick. Once the dust has settled, Izuku quickly gets up to check on Kuro. Izuku, Kuro, I'm sorry girl. I shouldn't have brought you here. You worked hard and did good, okay. Rayleigh will take care of you, alright. Izuku says in a panic before slicing open a portal in the ground. He picks up Kuro and lays her down gently on the other side of the portal. He stands up and closes the portal before stabbing his blade into the ground. Luchi? What? You're not going to escape with her? Luchi would ask as he lands on the ground behind Izuku. Izuku? I'm not running away. Izuku turns around and points his blocky fist at Luchi. Izuku? This doesn't end until you're beaten to a bloody pulp. Luchi? Have it your way then. Izuku leaps at Luchi and lands a hard punch to the center of his face. Luchi chuckles before stabbing Izuku in the stomach with his claws. Izuku grits his teeth and activates the accelerator in his right boot. He hits Luchi hard in the chin with a speed-boosted kick. Luchi coughs up a bit of blood before glaring at Izuku. He wraps his tail around Izuku's neck and uses it to slam his face down into the ground. While he's down, Izuku chomps down hard on the leopard man's tail, causing him to wince a bit. Izuku stands up while still biting on Luchi's tail and grabs it with both hands. He stops biting and proceeds to throw Luchi over his shoulder using his tail. He yells as he proceeds to do this several times over. Getting tired of this, Luchi transforms into his human form for a brief moment so that his tail vanishes out of Izuku's grip before transforming back to his awakened form. He spins on his hands and hits Izuku with a hard kick to the ribs. Izuku coughs up a bit of blood before turning around and landing a powered-up blocky punch to the face. Luchi's back hits the ground and Izuku grabs his aching ribs. They both then glare at each other before going in for a punch. They both land hard blows to the face, causing their haki to collide. Izuku takes advantage of having the higher ground and stretches his arm to push Luchi down into the ground. Luchi growls angrily before launching a rankyaku. Izuku's right arm gets sliced off, allowing Luchi to go free. Izuku picks up his arm and reattaches it. Izuku, Mananyuki. Izuku's right arm accumulates snow and takes the shape of a giant woman with razor-sharp teeth and bird wings. The demonic snow angel flaps its wings as it proceeds to try to bite Luchi's head off. Luchi jumps out of the snow monster's path only to instead receive an accelerator-boosted kick to the face from Izuku. Izuku transforms his arm back to normal and charges at Luchi using Kamisori. They both throw punches and end up just barely grazing each other at their sides. They both break their momentum mid-air before charging back at each other and swinging their legs. Their legs clash against each other with sparks of haki flying between them. They both glare furiously at each other with their pupils glowing crimson red. 3 hours later. Hours have passed, which is blatantly obvious from considering that the sun is setting. Izuku is standing in the center of the battlefield covered in his own blood-stained snow and panting heavily. Luchi is standing close by, also panting a bit and beaten up but not in as bad a shape as Izuku. Izuku, despite feeling the exhaustion building up, draws Kiku's sword, Nidai Kitetsu, and creates a crucifix-shaped blade in his mouth. Izuku, Santoryu, Senichiju Pound Ho. Izuku swings his blades and launches 3 air slashes at Luchi. Luchi snaps to action and dodges using Kamisori. Luchi, Tobushugen, Hibachi. Luchi fires 4 large fireballs at Izuku. Izuku slashes through all 4 of the blazing projectiles with his blades. His aura then flares to live as he activates his Ashura. Izuku, Moha no Tawanger. Izuku blitzes at Luchi using Kamisori as well and slices him with all of his blades. Izuku's Ashura fades as he takes a knee from a sharp pain in his legs. Luchi, Shugen. Luchi suddenly appears in front of Izuku with his blood dripping from fresh wounds from Izuku's attack. Izuku panics and tries to get away, but Luchi manages to outspeed him. He stabs his hand vertically into Izuku's throat, piercing his trachea and his sternum. Luchi pulls his claws out of Izuku's throat for the Greener to drop to his knees and clutch at his neck as he struggles to breathe. Luchi. What an eyesore. Luchi says as he uses his claws to cut loose Izuku's bandana from his face. He picks it up and burns it to ash using his flaming Shigen. Luchi. To think they'd call such a useless brand the insignia of an emperor. What a joke. Luchi quickly jumps up to avoid Izuku trying to strike him with his snow tail. Izuku. Black fiber. Izuku says in a rather raspy voice. Using incredibly thin strands of black whip, Izuku patches up the holes in his throat for a temporary fix. Luchi. Side-dyer in. Izuku quickly looks up to see Luchi blitzing all over the air above him using Kamisori. Having difficulty tracking his movements, Izuku instead uses future vision to predict Luchi's next attack. Izuku turns around just as Luchi appears behind him. Izuku attempts to throw a punch, however Luchi vanishes once more before he can land it. Izuku's eye widens as he feels Luchi's fists press up against his back. Luchi. Rakugan. A large shockwave passes through Izuku's body, heavily damaging his internal organs in the process. The shockwave ends with both Izuku and Luchi standing there in silence. Izuku then drops to his knees and transforms out of his gears before falling forward on the ground. Luchi stands up straight while panting a bit heavier with smoke still coming off his fists. Luchi. Don't worry, this won't be your final resting place. I'll make sure your body spends eternity in a manner far more fitting, rotting in a jail cell in Impel Down. Luchi says before turning around and walking towards Izuku's black snow. Izuku. Oi, get back here, we're not done yet, I can still fight, I can. Izuku tries to get up, but his arms give out on him. His vision becomes blurry with everything looking as if it's tilting. Izuku. I. Izuku closes his eye as his consciousness begins to drift. What happens next? Izuku's eye opens slightly as he suddenly hears an unfamiliar voice. Izuku. Huh. Who said that? Who's there? If you were to lose now, what would happen next? Izuku. If I lose? If I lose now? Izuku grips the ground with his right hand. Izuku. He'll go on to take my sword and return to Baltigo. Against him and the Seraphims, the others don't stand a chance, they'll be slaughtered. And then he'll go after Eri. And are you just going to let it happen? Izuku. No way in hell. Well then, what are you going to do? Izuku's hand begins to melt and evaporate against the magma-heated earth. With a bit of effort, he manages to raise his head and look forward with his crimson red eye. Meanwhile, Luchi is still traversing the barren ground to retrieve Izuku's sword. While he's walking, he hears a crunch beneath his foot that causes him to stop. Confused, he looks down to see that he'd stepped in a patch of snow. Luchi? Snow. Luchi looks back up and is rather shocked to see that the once barren land was now completely covered in a thick layer of snow as far as he could see. Luchi? What the? A snowflake would then land on his nose, making him look up. The sky is completely clouded and it appears to be snowing lightly. Just then, a strange sound comes from behind, causing Luchi to turn around. There he sees Izuku standing there and glaring at him, while a violet mist of sorts is being continually expelled from his arm. Izuku. I'll prevent that future no matter what. Even though you've already reached your limit, you keep fighting no matter how badly your body gets torn apart. You really are incredible, Ninth. Within the mist, the figure of a person forms floating next to Izuku. Let me lend you a hand here. Luchi. Still alive, are you? You're far more resilient than I gave you credit for. But resilience can only keep you going for so long. Izuku doesn't say anything and instead keeps glaring at Luchi in silence. The mist would then seemingly change direction with a wind and envelop Izuku completely. Luchi. Do you think you can hide from me in your silly smoke cloud? I can always easily find you with my haki. Luchi yells as he dashes into the purple cloud after Izuku. He can see the young boy's aura through the mist and heads straight for it with a smirk on his face. Just then though, he gets blindsided and knocked down to the ground. Luchi? Huh? What was that? Luchi attempts to get up but gets hit with a blow to the jaw coming from the ground. Luchi. Below now. He then gets hit with a hard blow to each side of his face at the same time, followed by a hit to the stomach and a hard blow to the back of his head. Luchi. What's going on? Even though he hasn't moved a muscle, I keep getting hit by attacks I can't sense any presence behind. My quirk could never really be used in conjunction with one for all the same way the others could use theirs, it could never be made into a super move. But the way you use it is something else, Ninth, you really know how to think outside the box. Luchi manages to avoid taking a hard blow to the face. He can clearly see that what was trying to hit him is a large blocky fist made out of a dark purple ice. Luchi. So that's it. The blocky fist then seemingly dissipates into the same violet mist that's surrounding Luchi. Luchi. This mist is made with vapor from his snow. Luchi realizes as he's dealt 6 consecutive blows to the face. He manages to recover and quickly uses Geppo to escape the purple cloud. Luchi. HMPH, a decent trick, but it doesn't amount to much, so long as I can avoid getting caught in it. Izuku merely raises and clenches his fist at Luchi. The purple mist would then extend towards Luchi, while taking the shape of a giant hand. Luchi. Luchi gets caught by the mist and slammed into the ground where he's once again enveloped. Before he can move, he's hit with a barrage of frozen fists raining down on him from above. Using a combination of Kami-e and Kamisori, Luchi slips out of the barrage and leaps off the ground. Just then he sees Izuku leap at him with his leg hackified. You've been paying attention to his every move, so I'm sure you realize that what you're about to do hinges on whether or not you can move. Izuku. Fast enough. Izuku swings his leg which misses hitting Luchi directly. Surprising Luchi though, a large cut appears on his chest, causing his eyes to widen from shock. Luchi. Was that it can't be. Luchi gets hit by a fist coming from the ground that knocks him back. The leopard man proceeds to get knocked around in the mist cloud by the frozen fists. This goes until Luchi gets stopped with a sharp piercing pain in his stomach. Luchi looks down to see one of the fists with its index finger extended and stabbed into his chest. Luchi. He did it again. Luchi uses Geppo to push himself off of the finger and quickly heads towards Izuku. Luchi. Shugen. Madara. Luchi lands in front of Izuku and attempts to stab him repeatedly. Izuku closes his eye and lets out a deep breath while lowering his head. Izuku proceeds to dodge each and every one of Luchi's attacks, as if he were a leaf in the wind. Luchi. I can't believe it, he's learned how to use the remaining 3 Rakishiki techniques simply from fighting me. Luchi thrusts both his hands at the same time. Izuku naturally dodges both of them and opens his eye. 2 frozen fists then come in from behind and slam into Luchi's fingers, breaking all 10 with a loud crunch. Luchi. Ah. Luchi yells out in pain before he gets knocked into the air by a frozen fist hitting him in the jaw. Izuku leaps after him and swings his leg to knock him back with another air slash. Luchi quickly gets knocked back to Izuku by another frozen fist to the back. Izuku again knocks him away with an air slash and this time quickly follows after him with skywalk. He slams his foot into Luchi's face just as an ice fist hits him in the back of the head. Izuku gets him space with Kamisori before pelting Luchi with frozen fists from all sides. He gets finished off by a larger fist that punches him down to the ground. Luchi manages to push himself off his stomach using the palms of his hands. He looks around for Izuku and his eyes land on him standing in the distance. His blood runs cold once he realizes what stance Izuku's taking up. He's holding his fists in front of him and above each other while pointed at Luchi. Luffy. You need to get caught up in the fight more, Izuku. That's when Haki grows the most. Izuku tightens his fists and coats them in armament Haki. A green aura suddenly engulfs his arms before he vanishes into the smoke. Luchi. That's impossible, he can't. Luchi quickly gets up and tries to escape the smoke again using Kamisori. He hits a purple wall made of hackified ice that stops him in his tracks. A fist then punches him off the wall and he gets knocked around several times over. This ultimately ends with a fist from the ground punching him upwards. Luchi feels something hit his chest and opens his eyes to see Izuku above him and pressing his fists against his stomach. Not only that but he can see multiple sets of frozen fists positioned like Izuku's and also coated in the same green aura all around him. Izuku. I'll show you hell unlike any other. Luchi's eyes widen as Izuku's Haki explodes to its very limits. Without wasting another second Izuku fires a shockwave from all of his fists and his Haki flows into Luchi. Izuku. Rakugan. Blood erupts from Luchi's body and splatters across the snowy area. Izuku's frozen fists crack and shatter from the power of their own attack and the resulting shockwave completely dissipates the purple mist and clears a patch of snow beneath the two. Both Izuku and Luchi fall and hit the ground at the same. Izuku lays there breathing heavily while looking up at the sky. He sees Luchi's pigeon fly over him and land on Luchi. Izuku gets up to see Luchi's unconscious body lying there while Hattori sits on his bloody chest. Izuku. Guess you're a bird person too. Some time later, Baltigo. On the home base of the Straw Hat Grand Fleet, countless fallen Cipher Pol agents, soldiers and pacifistas lay beaten on the rocky grounds. Near the island's docks, the members of the Grand Fleet, Big Mom Pirates double agents, Riskana residents and rescued Bardo Club members are busy recuperating from the long battle they'd fought. Yamato. Ugh, I'm sore all over. Smoothie. Well, that's to be expected. We just spent the better part of a day fighting an enormous army of highly trained spies and pacifistas. Being sore is very understandable. Hiroshima. You can say that again. My everything is hurting. Shinso. Damn it, I'm not used to fighting for so long, I'm winded as hell. Mineta. I just wanna sleep. May. I'm so hungry. Izawa. I wonder if Eri is asleep yet. Pixie Bob. Man, I thought we were gonna get wiped out by those little Seraphim punks. It's a good thing you showed up when you did, Robin. Robin. We're just lucky Traffy likes to keep C-prism stone chains on hand and that these Seraphims have the same weakness as regular fruit users. Robin says, referring to S-Shark and S-Bear, who are both chained up in C-prism stone and encased in blocks of black ice. Parrot. They're not so scary when they're chained up like this. Ragdoll. I think most dangerous creatures are the same. Pitsuki. You little shits. Pitsuki says tiredly as he tries to throw a rock at S-Shark while he's laying on the ground with Setsuna supporting his head. He, however, does not have enough energy and ends up missing. Shoto. Is that really the best way to use what little energy you have left? Shoto says while he's covering his muscles with ice and Momo hands him a cup of hot chocolate. Pitsuki. Buck off. Flamp. Ugh, I'm so bored of this place, when is my darling gonna get here? Pitsuki. Do you ever shut the hell up? Ichako. Deku-kun sure is taking a while, it's making me a bit worried. Sayu. Yeah, me too. Pitsuki. The damn nerd'll be fine. Quit your worrying. Yamato. He's a bit mean but he's right. Izuku will win. He'll be here any minute now. Just believe in him. Just then a portal gets sliced open near the group, grabbing everyone's attention. Ichako looks relieved for a second before Izawa steps in front of her and coats his scarf in haki. Everyone gets up and readies themselves and their weapons for the possibility of another fight. After a short moment, Rob Luchi's beaten and bloodied body gets thrown out of the portal and lands in front of the group, with Hattori landing on him shortly after. The group looks at the CP0 agent stunned before turning their attention back to the portal. They all look horrified as Izuku drags his worn out and torn apart body through the portal. They all stare at him silently in shock, unable to say anything. Rather contrasting to his current appearance, Izuku proceeds to give them all a wide toothy smile. Izuku. I won, guys. Izuku says enthusiastically as he begins to fall forward with everyone immediately running to help him. Chapter 26. Izuku. Ugh. Izuku opens his eye to find himself looking up at a rather familiar looking roof. He tries looking around but has some difficulty moving his neck. Izuku. I'm getting a serious sense of deja vu here. Izuku says in a rather raspy voice as he hears a door open, making him do his best to crane his neck upwards. Once he does, he can see Law entering the room. Law. Oh, you're finally awake. Izuku. Law-san. Law. So, how do you feel? Law asks as he closes the door and walks up to Izuku's bed. Izuku. I am very much in incredible pain right now. Law. Well, I suppose that's to be expected, your body wasn't exactly in the best of shape after all. Law says as he pushes a button on the side of Izuku's bed, causing the top half of the bed to elevate, so Izuku is sitting up. Now Izuku is able to see that almost his entire body is wrapped in bandages with his torso and limbs in casts. Law. I've treated you for injuries before, but this time the damage was on a completely different level. Massive damage to your internal organs that according to Mujiwara was caused by some sort of shockwave, severe damage to your spine, burns, punctures and deep lacerations caused across the majority of your body, a broken nose, fractures in all of your limbs and your jaw, your trachea. Left lung, small intestine and large intestine were punctured while your stomach and left kidney were torn apart, your right lung had collapsed seemingly from being punctured by your own ribs, your liver burst. I'm not even joking with that one, it actually burst apart like a bloody balloon, and to finish it off a chunk of your shoulder had been bitten off. Izuku. Law. We had to assist most of your bodily functions with machines for a while, and I cannot even begin to describe how frantically I searched for compatible organ donors on Baltigo. You almost died during surgery, several times I might add. How you're still alive remains one of the greatest medical mysteries of all time. Izuku. Well, I really appreciate all your efforts in saving me, Law-san. Law. Sigh. Well, I unfortunately couldn't save all of you. Despite mine, Markoya, Toniya and Manchuri's best efforts, it simply wasn't possible to heal something that wasn't there. Your eye couldn't be restored, I'm sorry. Izuku. It's okay, you guys kept me alive and I'm just grateful for that. Law. I see. That's not to say there isn't any hope though. Perhaps once that unicorn child builds up enough charge, she might be able to help. Izuku. Oh, that's right, Eri, is she okay? And what about Bardo and his crew? Law. Relax, they're fine. Although the child's been worried for quite some time while you were unconscious. Izuku. Thank goodness. By the way, how long was I out this time? My condition sounded pretty serious after all. Law. 2 weeks. Izuku. 2 weeks. Law. Like you said, your condition was serious, which is quite frankly putting it lightly. It was only just recently that you were deemed stable enough to be safely relocated to your room on your ship. Izuku. I guess it really shouldn't be a surprise, but I've always just been out for at most 4 days. I mean, I was only out for 2 days after the war against Fujitora and Jack. Then again, I guess I didn't push my body to such an extreme against them like I did against Luchi. Law. On that regard, I suppose apologies are in order. Had I not trusted Hawkins you wouldn't have had to fight with your life on the line against Luchi to defend Baltigo. I really can't scold you at all this time, this whole mess was my fault. Izuku. Don't be so hard on yourself, Law-san. You're just doing your best to make sure we're prepared for the war against Blackbeard. Because of your planning and hard work, it'll definitely go a lot smoother than this did. Law. Honestly, you're too forgiving for your own good sometimes. Izuku. By the way, what did you guys do with Basil Hawkins after what happened? Law. Well many of us rightfully wanted to kill him because of the trouble he put us all through, he managed to prove himself useful. Thanks to his straw dolls, we now have an effective way of keeping the world government at bay. He released your doll and instead made dolls of Rob Luchi and the 2 Seraphims. Unlike my hearts which can be stolen, the dolls are part of Hawkins and can't be removed by anyone but him, so the world government can't try to retrieve them on their own. I'm sure the world government wouldn't want to put the lives of one of their best agents and 2 of their strongest weapons at risk, so they definitely won't be trying anything like that again anytime soon. Izuku. I see, that's actually really smart. Law. Of course, that won't stop their pursuit of the unicorn child, it just means they won't try to obtain her themselves. Look at this. Law holds out a piece of paper for Izuku. Izuku tries but finds himself unable to lift his arms. Izuku thinks about his predicament for a moment before an idea pops into his head. Seeping through the bandages and cast on his right arm, Izuku expels a small violet mist cloud much to the surprise of Law. The small cloud takes the shape of 2 arms that take the paper. Law. Since when could he do that? The purple arms proceed to hold the paper in front of Izuku's eye, where he can clearly see that it's a wanted poster. Izuku. I thought putting bounties on Koda and Tama were already going too far, but now they've added Eri to the mix. And it's such a high bounty. Law. A clear reflection of how eager they are to get their hands on her power. Even going so far as to make hers an only alive bounty. Izuku. Well, it doesn't matter who comes after Eri, we'll send them all flying. Law. I doubt there's that many fools who try to storm into an emperor's territory for a quick 200 million, but it's good for you to keep that minced. Anyways, go ahead and check behind that wanted poster, there's something interesting I think you'll want to see. Izuku raises an eyebrow before letting the poster in front fall. Izuku widens his eye as he sees another wanted poster behind it. Law watches as a smile creeps onto Izuku's face which he tries to hide with his mist hand. Law. Smile, what is it now? Izuku. It's nothing, just that if I don't restrain myself I think I'll end up smiling so hard that I crack my jaw. Law. Look at you getting all excited over a 1.2 billion bounty. Izuku. Says the man worth 4 billion. Law. Fair enough. But understand that this is just one milestone on the long road you have ahead of you. You and your crew will face a lot more challenges even harder than this one. And if you can overcome them, then a bounty of this size will seem like a drop of water in the ocean. Izuku. That's so well then, I'll do my best to make sure we're all ready for it. Law. Good. You hear that, you pirate scrubs? Law asks while turning to the door to the room, causing Izuku to look there as well. There the green it sees his fellow hero students all squeezing their heads through the doorframe to look into the room. Izuku. Oh, everyone. What's wrong, I kinda expected you all to jump me again. Mina. Well, this time it was a plan that we all agreed to. Itsuka. So we can't really get mad at you. Mineta. Besides, you were really close to kicking the bucket there, man. Tetsu. Yeah, we were all panicking like crazy there for a minute. Toru. And you're still pretty hurt. Momo. Which makes us a bit scared that we might unintentionally cause you even more harm if we get close to you. Izuku. Shishishi, I appreciate the concern guys, but I feel better than I look. I'm not gonna get hurt from a little. Izuku is immediately cut off by everyone rushing into the room and pulling him into a large group hug. Izuku. Ow, 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 okay, maybe a little personal space might be necessary. The group quickly back up to allow Izuku some breathing room. Denya. Apologies. Kirishima. Man, it's a good thing Jinbei-sensei and Yamato are holding back Uraraka and Boa Hancock isn't here. They probably would have hugged him to death. Izuku. Oh, that's right, the rest of the crew must be back. Is it alright if I could go see them? Law. I suppose so. So long as you stay in this. Law says as he points to a wheelchair hooked up with several machines and an IV drip. Shoji and Sato would proceed to help Izuku out of his bed and into the wheelchair. Law would connect the machines to Izuku's body, while Momo makes a thick quilt for Izuku. With their green cinnamon bun now sufficiently prepped and warmed, the group exit Izuku's room to the snowy deck. Izuku. Sniff, what's that smell? It's like molten steel. Law. I think that's the cause of it. Law says as he points to Burnin, who's trying to sneak off the ship. Izuku. Burnin-san. Burnin. Ah, Midoriya. Why, you're up already? Why, yay. Izuku. Is everything okay? Burnin. Why, yeah. It's just, well, you know that bed you keep in your workshop. I think you might want to get a new one. Izuku. Why? Burnin. Oh, I just took a nap and I forgot to cover my hair, so it kinda burned up. Izuku. Is that a spark plug in your hair? Burnin. Ah, no, goodbye. Burnin exclaims before running to the docks. Izuku. What's up with her? Law. Word of advice, burn the rest of that bed. Izuku. Izuku looks confused at Law before Tenya helps wheel him down to the docks. Eri. Deku. Izuku sees the young unicorn child run up to him from a group of Aizawa and the other teachers. Izuku smiles as the young girl proceeds to hug his lap. Izuku. Hey there, Eri-chan. I'm glad to see you're in such high spirits. Aizawa. And just who do you think is the reason for that? All Might. She was crying pretty hard for the first few days though. Lad. Look who's talking. Izuku. I see. Sorry about worrying you like that. Midnight. Hey, you did your best to keep her safe, so there ain't no need to feel sorry about nothing. Law. I despise the amount of negatives you used in that one sentence. A loud cawing from above would then catch the group's attention. The large one-eyed raven of the Straw Hat strategist would then land right next to Izuku. Izuku. Kuro, you got hurt pretty badly too. I'm so sorry, girl. Izuku would apologize before the bird would press her face up against his, causing him to smile a bit. Midnight. Aw, nothing sweeter than the love between a boy and his bird. Luffy. Oh, Izuku. Izuku pulls away from Kuro to see Luffy running to him with the other Straw Hats right behind him. The Straw Hat captain would then leap at Izuku for a hug, much to the young boy's pain. Nami. He's still recovering, you numbskull. Nami yells as she punches Luffy's head into the ground. Usopp. Still, it's good to see you awake, buddy. Jinbei. Yeah, you gave us quite the scare there. Chopper. Crying, I'm sorry, Izuku, if we'd been there just a bit sooner then maybe your eye. Izuku. It's okay, really it's fine. At least now I actually have a reason to use my eye patch. Zoro. Welcome to the club, pal. Brook. Yo-ho-ho-ho, I may not have eyes, but I can certainly see that you'll fit right in. Izuku. Thanks. Luffy. Hey, Izuku, did you see your new bounty yet? Izuku. Yeah, it's got me so ecstatic. Rayleigh. Naturally. It's not every day someone breaks through the billion barrier. Rayleigh would say as he and Katakuri walk up to the group. Izuku. Rayleigh-san. Rayleigh. You got into quite the nasty scuffle, though it seems the rewards you reaped from it were worth it. Izuku. Smile, yeah, Rayleigh-san, take a look at this. Izuku creates a small mist cloud through his bandages and cast which proceeds to form into a blocky fist made of dark purple ice. Izuku clenches the blocky fist and a green aura engulfs it. Rayleigh. Ho, you finally broke through your ceiling. Izuku. Yep, and it was about every bit as hard as you made it out to be. Luffy. Shushi, great job, Izuku. You're gonna reach the next levels of hockey in no time. Katakuri. That is impressive and all, but what the hell is this? Katakuri would ask while pointing at Izuku's frozen mist fist. Frankie. Yeah, that's super different from your regular powers. Izuku. How do I explain this one? Katsuki. Oi, Deku. Tenya rotates Izuku so that he's able to see the strange side of both Katsuki and Shoto approaching him while dressed like hibachi chefs. Izuku. Kak. Katsuki. Shut up. Katsuki cuts Izuku off by shoving a cut of steak into his mouth. Katsuki. I don't want to hear a word out of your mouth after that stunt you pulled to boost your bounty to 1 billion, just you wait, mine'll surpass yours in no time. Shoto. You know, you agreed to that plan. Katsuki. Buck off. Sai. It's so early in the morning yet you two are arguing at full force as usual. Sai says as she approaches the group well covered in several layers of warm clothing. Izuku quickly swallows the steak in his mouth so he can greet his froggy friend. Izuku. Oh, Tsu. Sai. I'm glad you're feeling better, Izuku-kun. While you were recovering, I made this for you. Sai says as she proceeds to hold out a bandana with his ship's Jolly Roger on it. Sai. We couldn't find your old one on the island you came from, so I decided it'd be best to just make you a new one. I went with your Jolly Roger this time since you already have your tattoo of the straw hat mark. Izuku, wow, thanks Tsu. Izuku says happily as Tsuyu proceeds to tie the bandana around his head. Tsuyu. I also made you a new eye patch. Tsuyu says as she slips it over his right eye socket. Momo creates a small hand mirror and holds it in front of Izuku. In his reflection, Izuku can see his eye patch is embroidered with the straw hat Jolly Roger. Izuku. Not bad. You really outdid yourself, Tsu. Tsuyu. Thanks, I'm happy they came out so well. Ichako. Deku. Tsuyu. Ah, there's Ichako-chan. Tsuyu says while stepping out of the way so Izuku can see Ichako being carried in by Yamato while thrashing about in a tear-filled mess. Yamato. Yeesh, she's a lot stronger than her size lets on. Katakuri. Be still. Katakuri says while silencing Ichako by pressing a large ball of mochi in her mouth. Katakuri. She's been like this for the past 2 weeks and wouldn't leave your side without the use of butter or a crowbar. Hopefully now she'll stop. Izuku, thanks Ichako. Smile, I'm glad to have someone like you by my side. Ichako. Muffled crying. Mineta. How can a man in a wheelchair on a snow-covered island be so smooth? Flamp. That's my darling for you, smooth as silk. Flamp says as she wraps her arms around the greenet's bandaged neck. Izuku. Ida-kun, a hand please. Tenya. I'm afraid I can't, I've been hit with some sort of needle and can't move. Tenya says while he's sprawled out on the ground like a wet noodle. Flamp. We've got 2 weeks of quality time to catch up on. Smoothie. Not on my watch. Flamp would proceed to get pulled off Izuku by Smoothie and restrained with rope by Jinbei. Katakuri. We really need to confiscate her needles. Flamp. Killjoys. Izuku. Everyone's so full of energy. Law. So? What do you plan to do? Izuku. Law. Manchuri won't be available for a while due to business with Dressrosa's royalty. Markoya's flames should have some effect, but… Izuku. I think I'll take my time with my recovery this time. To be honest, I feel a bit burned out right now, so maybe a bit of rest will do me good. Law. Well, given what you've put your body through, I'd say you've earned it. Zero. Kinda just sounds like a painful vacation. Enki. A pinkaction if you will. Hyoka. Wow, that delivery was painful. Enki. Why must you hurt me with my own comedy? Law. Well, it's fine for you to rest for now, just remember that there's war on the horizon. Izuku. I will. And I'll be ready. 1 week later. Izuku. Huh? You were scouted? Izuku would ask Mount Lady while he's in the middle of constructing a 3-seated stroller. Mt.L. Yeah, Hadridan asked me if I wanted to train with him and the other giants on Elbaf. I figured it'd be cool if I learned how to fight with a sword and shield like those giant Vikings. Izuku. Well, you're free to do as you please, but are you sure about this? Elbaf is a land of warriors. If you're going there to train, you're really gonna get put through grinder. Mt.L. Please, I think I know what I'm doing. Izuku. Alright then, I'll have someone who's been to Elbaf to open a gate for you. Najire. Knock, knock. Najire says while entering the workshop. Najire. Midoriya, the big mom crew's leaving now and they need a gate. Izuku. Oh, okay. I'm on it. Izuku drops the tools in his mist fists and proceeds to reach for his warp sword laying nearby. Izuku. As obvious as it may be, I could use a hand with moving around here. Najire. Leave it to me. Najire says enthusiastically as she grabs Izuku's wheelchair by the handles. Najire. Consider me your chauffeur. Izuku. Quite the energetic driver I've got. The trio proceed to hastily make their way down to the docks where Smoothie's crew and ship are waiting. Izuku hands his sword to Sanji who goes on to cut a giant rift in the air using Skywalk. Pudding. Alright, I edited the memories of Mama's goons and the chess soldiers. You should be in the clear once they wake up. Smoothie. Thanks. I'm sorry we couldn't stay, but if we keep Mama waiting any longer, she'll get suspicious. Katakuri. It's alright, just stay safe. Flamp. Parting is such bitter sorrow. But our reunion will no doubt be sweeter than the finest and most pristine deserts the world has to offer. Oh my darling, I know the pain of us being apart may keep you up at night and rob you of your appetite, but you must be strong until the day we can embrace each other again. Izuku. Bye. Flamp. At least pretend that you're going to miss me. Izuku. Goodbye. Flamp. Is that really the best I'm going to get? Well, whatever. I'll be back in a few months anyways, so you'd best prepare yourself, darling. Smoothie. The buck you will. Flamp. Bye bye darling, you too, Achako-chan, Tsu-chan. Flamp says with a wave before disappearing into the boat. Izuku. Were you two friends with her? Ichako. No, not really. Sigh. She just gave us a lot to think about. Blamp. And you'd better capitalize on them before someone even more determined to capture Izuku's heart than me shows up. Ichako. A whole lot to think about. Izuku. Okay then. Another week later. On the now summer island, Izuku is seen parked on the grassy field with a monkey D triplet sleeping in a stroller next to him. The green boy in question is currently overlooking the training of his classmates with fruit powers. He sees Shinso zooming across the ground as a pool of liquid metal, while Mineta tries hitting and stopping him in his tracks with giant grape balls. He looks up to see Melissa flying in the air and firing balls of plasma at various floating targets. Mei meanwhile appears to be creating various golems made out of rock and steel. Izuku smiles seeing the progress that his friends are making. Izuku. Alright guys, that's enough for now. Izuku says, to which the group stops what they're doing. Shinso reforms back to his normal form, Mineta pockets his slingshot, Melissa descends to the ground, and Mei walks up to join them. Shinso. Man, it feels weird to move like, but I think I'm getting used to it. Melissa. Same here. I haven't crashed in days, but I'm still having a bit of trouble with motion sickness. Mineta. Say, anyone else feeling like majorly exhausted, or is it just me? Mei. Now that you mention it, I do feel a bit tired. Izuku. Well, it's best to practice using your fruit powers, overusing them can be a real tax on your stamina. It's the same with a lot of quirk holders. Mineta-kun, since you use both your quirk and fruit powers in tandem, you need to be extra wary about this. Mineta. Damn, well, that's a real bummer. Shinso. Guess we'll need to focus on training our endurance then. Melissa. I'm assuming that just entails us using our powers in excess until we get used to the stamina drain and overcome it. Mei. Ah, the good old brute force method. Izuku. It's simple, but it should prove effective. Frankie. Ow, Izuku. The group looks to see Frankie and Robin walking up to the group. Izuku. Frankie-san, SHH. Frankie. Oh, sorry. Izuku. Anyways, what's up? Frankie. I was going over the design of your new bike when I noticed a problem. See, the imitation jet dials ain't powerful enough for a vehicle of that size. And trying to make M stronger just makes M heavier, pretty much setting our efforts back to zero. Izuku. Shoot. And here I was thinking they'd make great accelerators. I can't think of anything else to give me the speed I need. Frankie. Hold on now, don't be so disheartened. There's an easy fix. We just need to get some authentic jet dials. They're smaller and lighter, so they'd be perfect. Izuku. Huh. Authentic dials. Where are we supposed to get hold of those? Robin. It should be obvious now, isn't it? Izuku. Robin. We're taking a trip to the Sky Islands. Meanwhile, in a certain lab. In a nigh pitch black lab, a group of individuals wearing colorful suits is gathered. The group includes Ryuju and Yonji, a red-haired and blue-haired young man who bear striking resemblances to Sanji, and a large man wearing a helmet. Blue. What are we doing here again? What's the deal with that damn clown calling us down here in the middle of the damn night? Red. Compose yourself, Niji. If that clown felt the urge to call all of us down here, then of course it's a matter of great importance. Niji. Don't act all high and mighty with me, Ichiji. I know you're just as irritated as me. Quiet down, Niji. Caesar is our partner, so you must learn to have patience with him. Caesar. Sure, Ororo, I do appreciate how you trust my genius, oh, Judge. The group look towards the darkness of the lab where they hear the sound of footsteps approaching. Stepping out of the dark is Caesar Clown himself. Standing next to him is a young man dressed in all black with curly black hair, freckles and blacker eyes. The young man's eyes are widened and he lacks any and all expression on his face. Caesar. Now allow me to introduce what you've all been waiting for. Meet Ammo. Yonji. That straw hat brat. Wait, no, as that is clone. I thought it took you a year to make a clone. Caesar. For normal clones, it would definitely take that long. But Ammo here is special. Perhaps partially due to his genetic donor's age or his unorthodox lineage factor. Judge. Fascinating. I'll have to examine the lineage factor code myself in great detail. Ichiji. Why don't you give us some insight on him? Caesar. I was hoping you'd ask for that. Much like you siblings, he has the same modified strength, agility and fast rate of recovery. He also has a highly durable exoskeleton. Ammo also lacks any unnecessary emotions that could cloud his judgment and follows orders to the letter. He'll make a fine general for Germa's army. Niji. Alright, we get it. Now what about his power? His quirk or whatever it's called. Caesar. Sigh, unfortunately I wasn't able to replicate that boy's power boosting ability. Yonji. Irritated what? Judge. Why not? Caesar. Upon examining his lineage factor. I discovered that it was practically identical to that of a regular human. There were no irregularities that could result in that inhuman strength. Niji. Are you serious? Yanji. You're telling me we wasted all those funds and resources for nothing? Caesar. Sure or Roro, oh that's not at all the truth. Judge. What do you mean? Caesar. Well, his lineage factors seemed completely normal, there were some irregularities that stuck out to me. And by slightly altering these factors, Ammo has developed rather unusual abilities. Ichiji. Like what? Caesar. Heh, Ammo, I think our comrades are asking for a demonstration of your capabilities. Why don't you show them what you can do? Ammo shifts his gaze to Caesar for a moment before looking dead ahead. He walks forwards, going through the Vinsmic family, and stops in front of the large metal doors of the lab. Ammo cocks his right fist back before throwing a punch. A large burst of green flame seemingly erupts from the clone's fist and melts a massive hole through the doors. Judge. Oh. Caesar. Ammo. The flames cease and Ammo pulls his fist back. He opens his palm and raises his hand. He extends his fingers and points them at what remains of the doors. He brings his fingers together and a loud metallic wrenching sound is heard. The remains of the doors get ripped off their hinges and collide against each other. The scrap metal gets compressed until it's become a small perfectly spherical marble. Ammo picks up the marble and would walk back to and give Caesar the small ball. Caesar. By slightly altering the lineage factor, Ammo unlocked some sort of latent ability that his original counterpart could never achieve naturally. Pyrokinesis and telekinesis, a rather destructive combination, wouldn't you agree? Judge. This is incredible, Caesar. This is Neomad's first major scientific breakthrough and the birth of one of Germa's greatest soldiers. Caesar. Sure or Roro, I'm glad you share my enthusiasm. Yanji. Well, hot damn, I guess all that effort was really worth it. And to think we'll have a whole army of these guys in a couple of months. Caesar. Oh, there's no need to clone any more of him. Yanji. What? Why not? Caesar. Well, Ammo may be powerful, he still takes time and many resources to create. The regular clones may take longer, but at least they're easier to prepare. And that's when genius struck me. If it's Ammo's powers we want, then it's Ammo's powers we'll have. Caesar says as he steps towards a nearby table. He picks up two objects from the table in each hand, turns around and raises them up. In his right hand appears to be a green apple with purple rings on it, and in his left is a purple apple with green rings on it. Caesar. And we'll do so by ushering in a brand new era of smile. Sure or Roro, ha 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 ha. Bonus short. Panic. Immediately after chapter 25. Izuku is falling over unconscious before being caught by Yamato as everyone else quickly rushes to the scene. Yamato. Aiya, Izuku. Midnight. Sweet dear lord, he looks like he's been thrown into flaming blender. Ichako. Crying Deku. Sai. Ichako-chan, calm down before you have a panic attack. Mina. Ah, the buck do we do, there's blood everywhere. Denki. What happened to his eye? There's just a socket. Robin. My, that's definitely not good. Izawa. Be more alarmed at this. Parrot. Oh no, is he still breathing? Smoothie. Well, I can see his lung and it's still pumping, but I think being able to see it is a problem in and of itself. Flamp. Darling no you little grape shit, ain't you a doctor? Save him. Mineta. I'm not a legally licensed medical professional. Ioka. No shit Dumbus, we're pirates. Denki. Quick call 911. Fitsuki. You think that shit exists in this world? Yamato. Ah, what do we do? Every second that passes, he just gets closer to dying. Ah, Manchuri, that's it, someone pick up his sword and cut away to Dressrosa. Shoto. On it. Shoto quickly grabs Izuku's black blade and slices open a large portal to Dressrosa. Yamato. Alright, now let's hurry and get him too. Just then, Sanji and Pudding all come out through the portal. Burlee. Huh. There's no fighting going on here. Pudding. It's over already. Yamato. Sanji, what are you doing at Dressrosa? Sanji. Ah, Yamato-chan, well we figured you guys would need help so I rushed over to Dressrosa, but it looks like Izuku, what the hell happened? Fitsuki. Stop asking questions and make a portal to that damn surgeon before the nerd kicks the bucket. Sanji. Ah, right. Sanji quickly takes Izuku's sword from Shoto and slices open several portals. Immediately after, Luffy's group all charge through but come to a quick halt once they see the island covered in unconscious soldiers. Nami. Wait, what's going on here? Sanji. Luffy, Tra. Luffy. Ah, Sanji, what's Izuku? Broke. What happened? Toru. It was that cat guy who did this. Luffy. Ah, pigeon guy again. That bastard. Usopp. Beat him while he's down. Law. Stop wasting time, you idiot. Somebody get in contact with Marco, someone get Manchuri, every available doctor here prep for surgery, and the rest of you gather as many bodies as you can and pray that there's at least some compatible organ donors amongst these world government soldiers. Everyone? Alright. And just like that, everyone scrambles through portals, gathering soldier bodies and various pieces of medical equipment. Hawkins. Quite the serious situation you've got on your hands. Law. Who the hell do you think's responsible for it? Chapter 27. Somewhere in the New World, a wealthy kingdom. The residents of a small village would watch and whisper from afar as they watched four multicolored individuals in equally colorful suits walk through middle of their town behind a young man dressed in a black skin suit. Yanji. Ugh, could this kid walk any slower? Niji. Pick up the pace, you little freak. Ichiji. Be quiet, you know he won't listen to either of you. Yanji. Why the hell do we just have to follow him, this is so boring. Caesar. Sure Roro, since Ammo is going to act as a general of sorts for your Germa army, I think it's best for you all to see just how well he can handle your commission work. It'll also serve as a practical test run for his abilities. Caesar would say through the Vinsmic siblings' headphones as he and Judge watched things play out from the ship. Reiju. You won't have to worry about your boredom for long, Yanji. The castle's up ahead. Reiju says as a very large medieval-looking castle comes into view. Once they reach the castle gate, Ammo gets stopped from entering by two guards blocking his way with spears. GUARD1. Halt. What business do you outsiders have with this kingdom? Ammo simply stares at the guards in silence, making both guards sweat drop at his strange behavior. Yanji. Hey doc, he's not doing anything. Caesar. Oh he will, just call out to him and give him the can I gave you. Yanji reaches into his pocket and pulls out a black can with a red A on it. Yanji. Hey, runt. Yanji calls out, making Ammo turn and see the can. He steps forward and takes the can from Yanji. He turns back around and clicks a button on the can. A bright flash of light envelopes Ammo as materials shoot out from the can and envelop his body to form a pitch black suit reminiscent of Sanji's raid suit with red gloves and boots and a black visor. Printed on his cape is a blood red A and on his belt is a skull with a German name on it. Judge. You made him a raid suit. Caesar. I merely copied the framework for the stealth black suit and modified it to suit his abilities. GUARD2. What's with these weird people? Ammo takes a step forward towards the guards and the gate, causing the guards to focus again. GUARD1. Oi, stop, outsiders aren't allowed to enter the castle without. Ammo doesn't stop and continues to move. As he gets closer, the guards begin to heat up and sweat. The guards scream as their spears and armor start melting as Ammo passes through. The guards clutch their arms that their armor had melted on and drop to the ground as Ammo melts through the gate. Judge. What's this? Caesar. Ammo is capable of emitting flames from all over his body. This power has a passive effect of generating a heated atmosphere around himself. His raid suit weaponizes that passive effect and creates a heated force field capable of melting even the most heat-resistant metals. The Vinsmic siblings following Ammo into the courtyard. Several gunmen position around the area and inside the castle all point their guns at the group of five. Without any hesitation, the soldiers open fire from all sides. The bullets merely flatten on impact against the skin of the Germa siblings and incinerate completely before they can even touch Ammo. Gunman. Bullets aren't working. What are these monsters? Ammo brings his hand up to his face and looks into his palm. He sees a small metal-rimmed hole in his glove and proceeds to hold his right arm out to his side. A green goo would slowly begin to excrete from the glove and coat Ammo's hand. Yanji. What's that? Caesar. You see, a strange phenomenon occurs when he combines his two abilities. Using his telekinetic powers, he's able to alter the properties of his flames to varying results. For example, one such outcome is the flame changing between the states of matter. Some of the goo drips onto the ground and the grass immediately catches fire. Ammo's eyes quickly scan the area and memorize the positions of the gunmen. He swings his arm quickly and launches globs of green flame gel that hit all the soldiers in the eyes. Screams erupt from all of the soldiers while Ammo shakes the gel off onto the grass. Ammo extends his fingers a couple of times before clutching his hands together and pressing the holes in his gloves against each other. He clutches tightly as what looks like steam comes from his palms. Caesar. A word of caution. Niji. What is it now? Caesar. Ammo is still rather inexperienced when it comes to using his abilities. Niji. Meaning? Caesar. He's incapable of self-restraint. I suggest you put some distance between yourselves and him immediately. The Vinsmic siblings all look at each other and give a nod before taking to the air. The steam coming from Ammo's fists would turn purple with green embers hitting the ground. A loud sizzling sound emits before the steam and embers stop. Amo proceeds to slowly pull his hands apart. A translucent multicolored bubble forms between Amo's gloves and grows as he continues to pull them apart. The bubble reaches the size of a basketball with a small green flame floating in the middle of it. The bubble breaks off from Amo's gloves and floats towards the castle. It enters the building through an open window and floats deeper in. Guards inside the castle try to shoot or pop the bubble with their bladed weapons, but bullets bounce off and blades shatter upon making contact with the surface of the bubble. The bubble reaches the center of the castle and hovers in place. The bubble pops, resulting in a massive explosion that engulfs the castle in green flames. Yanji. Whistle talk about firepower, he's like a walking war. Dozens of burning soldiers scramble out of the castle one after another. From one of the windows of the upper floors, an old man in a robe and crown falls out and hits the ground. He tries to quell the flames by rolling around on the grass. The fire subsides with the old man lying on his back panting. His eyes widen in terror as Amo appears above him. He quickly tries to get up and run away, however he's caught and suspended in mid-air by Amo's telekinetic power. King. Please, spare me, I'll give you all my riches, just don't kill me. Caesar. I'm not completely familiar with your line of work, do you need the matriarchs alive? Judge. Not for this commission, no. Caesar. Great. Amo, finish the job. Hearing Caesar's order, Amo raises the king up higher in the air. He slowly begins clenching his fist, causing a loud crunching sound to come from the king. Amo clenches his fist completely, creating a loud snap and making blood rain down from above. The king's crown hits the ground as Amo tosses his body back into the burning. The clone bends down and picks up the crown. He examines the crown for a moment before deciding to put it on his head. Judge. Incredibly powerful, but with an unexpected childish side. Caesar. Well, he is only about 2 months old. His body developed far faster than his mind did. His brain at this point is like a sponge, it'll absorb information as his experiences accumulate. The villagers gather outside the castle gates to investigate the emerald flames. Amo would slowly walk out of the flames, making the crowd of villagers to tremble in fear. Caesar. Amo, I do believe I told you to finish the job. Caesar says, to which Amo presses the palms of his hands against each other. He pulls his palms apart to create a long staff of green flames. Amo grabs the staff and twirls it above his head, generating more flames. The generated flames proceed to form large blades on each end of the staff, turning the staff into a double-bladed scythe. Amo stops twirling and holds his weapon at his side. The villagers get a sense of the danger therein and immediately try to run. Amo raises his arm and holds his scythe over his shoulder. The thrusters in his boots activate and launch Amo towards the villagers while he swings his blade. Meanwhile, thousands of meters above in the sky. High up in the air, higher than the very clouds themselves, a giant rift appears. From the rift, both Izuku and Luffy's ships would fall. Luffy. Yosh, we're here. Izuku. Did you have to make the portal so high? The ships land and somehow float on the clouds. Luffy. See, that wasn't so bad, eh Izuku? Izuku. Denki. Oh Midoriya fell overboard. Denki yells while pointing at Izuku and his wheelchair sinking in the clouds. Luffy. Izuku. Jinbei. I'm on it. Jinbei hastily jumps off the ship to catch Izuku. The ship soon reach the shore of the Sky Island, where Jinbei drags Izuku onto land. Izuku. Ugh, I think I swallowed a cloud. Luffy. Sorry about that, Izuku. Izuku. Next time, please consider the altitude when you cut open a portal. Mineta. Man, it's kinda hard to catch my breath up here. Shinso. Considering how high up in the air we are, the air's of course gonna be far thinner than back on ground level. Zoro. You get used to it. S&M. How? Momo. What is this? Is this a jungle in the sky? Momo would say while looking at the large trees. Shoto. Is this an ocean made of clouds? How is this possible? Zoro. Volcanoes sprayed chemicals in the air and made these clouds. Shoto. Is that it? Zoro. I'm not wasting 5 minutes explaining the whole thing. Inasa. Yo, check out this big fruit I found. Inasa yells from a tree while tossing a big gourd-looking fruit to the ground, nearly hitting Mineta. Mineta. Hey, watch where you're tossing shit. Inasa. Ah, sorry. Izuku. What's this? Izuku picks up the fruit using Black Whip and holds it above his head. Usopp. Oh, I remember those. They're called Kanasu. You drink their juice, but they're hard as steel on the top. Izuku. I see, so they're drinking fruits. Izuku says while coating his right index finger in hockey. He then proceeds to stab a hole in the fruit for the juice to pour out. Izuku. This is some of the sweetest juice I've ever tasted, it's so good. Usopp. I shouldn't be surprised since it's you, but the way you just stabbed through that fruit with your finger makes me worry about your humanity. Izuku. Now then, how do we go about getting dials? Ichako. Couldn't we just buy them? Izuku. Does this place even use the same currency as down below? Robin. Skypia's local currency is extols. 1 Beely would translate to exactly 10,000 extols. Mina. Holy hell, that's an exchange rate. Izuku. I guess we won't necessarily have to worry about money then. Robin. And I'm not sure buying jet dials is a viable option. They're incredibly rare and practically extinct. Izuku. Well, that doesn't bode well. Frankie. Relax, we just need to ask around. There's probably some people round these parts who have got some they ain't using or that are broken. Frankie says while Koda and Thomas sit on his shoulders and sip from Kanasu. Luffy cuts open a Kanasu using Izuku's sword and hands it to Eri. Sue. Luffy. Luffy looks down hearing a soft whine and feeling something scratch his leg. He sees a small fluffy creature resembling a fox. Eri. Cute. Midnight. What's this thing, it's so adorable. Sue. Toru. Kinda sounds like it's calling out to you, Sue-chan. Sayu. I wouldn't mind being friends with something so cute. Nami. Huh. Isn't this? Sue, where'd you go? The group would hear a woman's voice coming from the jungle. The little fox would walk towards the source of the voice. A blonde woman wings on her back comes out of the jungle and is happily greeted by the fox jumping in her arms. I was wondering where you went. Don't worry me like ah. The woman notices the group and smiles widely, much like half of the Straw Hats. Nami. Kanis. Luffy. It's been such a long time. Sanji. Love-struck Kanis-chan. Kanis. Everyone. The girl now known as Kanis exclaims as she runs up to the group and hugs Nami. Kanis. I missed you all so much, you've all changed a lot. Zoro. Not really. Usopp. You do realize that the last time you were here you had both your eyes, right? Izuku. I'm guessing this is someone the crew is well acquainted with. Pudding. All I know is I really dislike her. Izuku. I'd be lying if I said I didn't expect you to say that. Kanis. Ah, are these your friends? Luffy. Smile, yeah, they're my crew. Katakuri. Not all of us. Law. Get your head straight. Pudding. You both say that despite having your own cabins on the island. Kanis. So what brings all of you here? Frankie. We were hoping to get some dials. Kanis. Oh, is that so? Well, there's plenty in the town, so let me guide you all there. Robin. So you all rebuilt your city here? Kanis. Yes, we've resettled with the Shandorians on the upper yard. I think you'll enjoy seeing how the new city looks. Luffy. Yosh, come on guys, let's go. Manga. Hang on Captain, I think we lost Midoriya. Luffy. Huh. Again. Meanwhile in the forest, said Greenwood is currently moving fast through giant trees. Najire. Now where did that colorful bird go? Izuku. Senpai, slow down. Izuku says as he holds onto Eri who's sitting on his lap, who herself is holding onto Baby Bell. Najire. Darn, I think I lost it. Izuku. Can we stop then? Najire. Ah, okay. Najire comes to a quick halt, resulting in Izuku almost flying out of his chair. Najire. Looks like we got separated from the others. Izuku. I wonder how that happened. Najire. You think we'd be able to find the city if we kept walking through the woods? Izuku. Well, that or we accidentally fall through the sky. Let me just call Kuro so we can get a bird's eye view. Izuku suddenly goes silent and narrows his eye, which turns crimson red. Najire notices this and looks up to the trees while her eyes turn red as well. Izuku slowly raises his hand and puts 2 fingers in his mouth. He lets out a loud whistle and loud gunshots, followed by bright flashes of light ring out. Izuku senses the oncoming bullets and blocks them using his hackified snow. Najire fires blasts of energy in the direction the bullets came from for a figure to jump out of the way. From behind, another individual leaps at the group like a rocket and tries to hit them with a spear. This sneak attack gets blocked by Kuro flying in and stopping the spear with her metal body. 2 cannonballs get fired at the group, causing Izuku to emit black whip fists. Izuku. Crow pistol. Adamantine beak. Izuku coats his black whips in hockey and thrusts their index fingers forwards, piercing and shattering the cannonballs. Izuku. I know we're not locals, meaning we could have easily done something to offend your people, but I won't hold back on anyone who dares to aim a weapon anywhere near a child. Hey, it looks like these blue sea dwellers can use mantra. TCH, what a pain. From out of the shadows of the trees, 4 winged men wearing dark coats and carrying various weapons would emerge. How should we handle this, Wiper? The soldier carrying the spear would ask the one with tattoos and a bazooka on his back. Wiper. Whether or not they can use mantra doesn't matter. If we don't take care of suspicious individuals like this before they reach the village, it could cause dangers for everyone. Viper says as he takes aim with his bazooka. Izuku. Senpai, I hoped it wouldn't have to come this since Eri and Bell are here, but we might need to fight. Najire. No problem. I won't let these two get hurt. Hannes. Wait, please stop. Hannes yells as she and Luffy swing in on off a tree branch. Viper. Straw Hat. Hannes. Viper-san, it's okay, they're Luffy-san's crew, they mean us no harm. Luffy. Yeah, that's my crew and kids there, leave them alone. Viper. Is that so? Next time be clearer with your intentions then. Izuku. Do you not see the straw hat on my eye patch? Eventually. Everyone. Whoa. Everyone's eyes would sparkle as they beheld a large amusement park laid out before them. Welcome to Wagomaland. A young girl with dark hair would welcome the group while handing Koda and Eri balloons. Luffy. Whoa, awesome. Pony. It's like Sabati Park. Ragdoll. But with a cool giant snake. Nami. This is quite the place you've got here, Isa-chan. Isa. Yeah, everyone deserves to have some fun every now and then. Hannes. If you're feeling hungry, you can take a stop by the Pumpkin Cafe. Izuku. Sounds good, I've always wanted to try eating Sky Island cuisine. Luffy. Yosh, let's have some fun. Frankie. What about the dials? Luffy. Later for now, fun. Luffy exclaims as he and several others run to ride the attractions like the White River roller coaster, Snake Tongue Bungee and Ferris wheel. Others would instead go to the Pumpkin Cafe and eat some food served by Canis and Rocky. Ragdoll. So good, I gotta bring back some of these pumpkin noodles for Killer, he's gonna love them. Rocky. Glad y'all enjoy them. Setsuna. PSST, Itsuka, check out who's in the Ferris wheel. Setsuna says with a smirk as she points to the booth at the top of the wheel. Through the window, they can see Law burying his face in his hat, trying to ignore Midnight, who's trying to force him to eat cloud cotton candy. Meanwhile back at the entrance, Usopp can be seen admiring his likeness. Usopp. Not bad. A little weak on my muscles but not bad. All Might. How is it a guy like this has two different statues dedicated to him? Izawa. Are you really one to talk? Najire wheels Izuku through the amusement park with Eri cheerily pushing Belle, who's trying to eat a small cloud, in her stroller. Izuku sees a nearby shop that causes Najire to stop. He looks through the store window to see what looks like a snowboard and a pair of skates with shells attached to them. Izuku. Interesting. What kind of gear is this? Those are jet boards and shooters. The man who's almost completely bald aside from two strands of hair tied into balls would explain as he exited the store. Pagaya. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm Canis's father, Pagaya. Izuku. It's a pleasure to meet you, and there's not really any reason to apologize. Pagaya. Ah, sorry. Izuku. Pagaya. We use these to traverse the ocean clouds and cloud roads. The breath dials attached to them allow for acceleration across the surface of the clouds. Izuku. Is that so? Do you think it'd be possible for me to but a few sets? Pagaya. Well, pardon me for being blunt, but I don't think it's advisable for you to try and use them in a wheelchair. Izuku. Well, I'm not always gonna be in a wheelchair. Pagaya. Ah, of course. I'm sorry. Izuku. Anyways, is it possible that you have any jet dials for sale? Pagaya. Oh yes, we've got plenty. Izuku. Really? I'd heard they were really rare. Pagaya. Yes they are, but after Enel was defeated the people who were forced to build his ark were freed. They revealed that they'd done their best to sabotage their efforts and stashed away a large amount of jet dials that were planned for the ark. Izuku. Is it really alright to sell those? Pagaya. Yes, it's no problem. We've completely transitioned to using breath dials, so there's not really any demand for them. If you want them, they're yours. Izuku. Thanks so much, this really helps a lot. Pagaya. Oh, I apologize. Izuku. Please stop. Later that night. In the now revitalized ruins of the ancient kingdom, the Skypians, Shandorians and the Straw Hat group are partying around a giant bonfire. Luffy, Sanji, Usopp, Denki, Kirishima, Tetsutetsu, Inasa and Frankie are dancing around the bonfire with the natives. Topper, Isa, Eri, Koda and Tama are stuffing their faces with sweets, while Pixie Bob, Katakuri and Achako are grilling mochi donuts from atop the giant snake. Zoro, Wiper, Jinbei, Maruko, Midnight and a reluctant Law share a toast while Izawa, Sayu, Eri, Canis, Nami and Robin drink kanasu while laying back on small clouds. Melissa. Hatsum-san, look. Melissa would grab Mei's shoulder and pulls her away from her bowl of pumpkin noodles. Melissa points to a large pink bird trying to share a kanasu drink with Kuro. Kuro takes a sip from the drink and burps out a blast of fire that stuns the pink bird. Mei. Aw, our baby made a friend. While everyone's busy partying, Izuku and Midoriya are far above the group after having climbed what looks like the remains of a giant beanstalk. Izuku. I can still hear everyone partying from here. Yamato. Well, what else would you expect from our crew? Yamato says as she jumps up onto the same level Izuku and Midoriya are on. Yamato. Now come on, we're almost there, I can feel it. Izuku. I know. The group make their way through the upper ruins and eventually find their way to a large temple covered with clouds. Nearby they find a large patch of kanasu. Across the field, the group can see a large golden bell in the distance. Yamato smiles excitedly and hurries across the field to the bell. After crossing the field, the group would stare in awe of the golden bell. Yamato. Amazing, it's just like Odin described in his journal. Izuku. It really is incredible. Do you have an interest in the golden belfry? The casually dressed old man with a long beard would say as he and another old man wearing clothes similar to the Shandorians would come out from behind the giant bell. Izuku. Who are you? I'm the chief of the Shandorian people. And I am Ganfall. Shandorian chief. You mean God, don't you? Ganfall. I'd much rather be more casual with visitors. Midoriya. Wait, God, as in the god. Ganfall. I'm afraid who you're thinking of and me are two different beings. Midoriya. That's so. Yamato. Nah, this is the same golden bell that Roger and Odin came across on their journey, right? Ganfall. Oh, you're familiar with them? Yes, they came here many years ago and discovered the bell. Yamato. I knew it, I'm getting goosebumps seeing it myself. Izuku. So the Pirate King himself came across this golden bell in Poneglyph. Izuku wheels himself closer to the giant bell and finds markings inscribed in the gold next to the Poneglyph. Izuku. I have come here and will lead this passage to the farthest ends of the world, Goldie Roger. Yamato. Izuku, you can read the Poneglyph text. Izuku. Bits and pieces, yeah. It's hard to make out full sentences, so I'm doing a bit of guesswork. Midoriya. Hard to imagine those being letters of a language. South Carolina. I never imagined there'd be anyone else capable of reading these ancient texts. Ganfall. Remarkable, isn't it? Say, would you like to ring the bell? Yamato. Can we really? Ganfall. Of course. I'm sure all of those down below would love to hear it song. Yamato. Awesome Izuku, let's do it. Izuku. Sure, why not? Yamato enthusiastically grabs hold of the bell's rope and Izuku extends his black whips to grab on as well. The two pull with all their might, causing the bell to rock and ring out loud. Everyone down below at the party would look up hearing the sound of the golden bell. Joke. Wow. Sigh. Incredible. Luffy. Shishy, even better than I remember. Brooke. Such a soothing sound. Pixie Bob. It's like silk to my ears. Glad. This sounds like something you'd hear in heaven. Vernon. You're underselling it, man. Ginbei. I've never heard anything quite like this. Viper. Smile, that is the light of Shandora. 1 week later, Riskana. A week had passed since the excursion to Skypia and the Straw Hat group had safely returned home to their now full island. In the soldier dock system bay on Izuku's ship, both May and Melissa would stare completely stunned at the sight of 2 large eggs in a nest. Melissa. As she laid eggs. May. Oi, these aren't gonna hatch, are they? Melissa. I don't know. Did she lay eggs before? May. Hell if I know, Izuku's the one who usually cleans up her nest. Melissa. We should have kept a closer eye on her back at Skypia. May. Okay, let's stop and think about this. Kuro is a bike, she can't reproduce. Melissa. But she's also a bird. May. Can you fertilize a bike's eggs? Melissa. That sentence shouldn't exist. While the two mechanics are going back and forth, both Luffy and Katakuri are watching intently while Ace and Bell sleep in Katakuri's scarf and Shanks under Luffy's shirt. In front of them, a fully recovered Izuku is stretching his muscles. Izuku. Man, I gotta say taking a few weeks off felt great, but I kinda missed moving around. Katakuri. That's only to be expected. Izuku. Right, I think that's enough of a warm-up. Now then. Izuku powers up to 50% gear second and spreads his legs. Izuku shoots up into the sky like a bullet and proceeds to zigzag around like a green blur. He swings his leg and fires off an air slice that cuts and launches up a log into the tree. Izuku jets at the log and cocks back his index finger. He stabs his index finger into the log, making it shatter into splinters. Izuku then dives straight to the ground while cocking back his fish and coating it in a green aura. He swings his fist causing the ground to crack without him even making contact with it. Izuku lands on the ground and lets out a deep breath. Katakuri. I see. So not only did you achieve advanced armament haki, you also mastered the Rakishiki techniques. Izuku? I guess so. Did I really master advanced armament haki? Izuku would think while looking down at the aura covering his arm. He thinks back to both Rayleigh and Luffy using haki and specifically remembers the dark lightning they emitted. Izuku? It feels like I'm still missing something anyways, I've still got more up my sleeve. Izuku says as he places his right hand down on the ground. He closes his eyes and focuses. Izuku? Wonderland. The ground would suddenly become covered in snow and the sky would immediately darken with snow falling. Izuku? This is what you were talking about, right, Katakuri-san? An awakening. Katakuri. Interesting. You managed to alter the climate in a small radius. It definitely seems like an awakening level ability, however it's still on a small scale and underdeveloped. Luffy? Hey, it's still pretty cool. Izuku? No, he's right. It's still far from the level of someone like Katakuri-san's. I've got room to get stronger. Still. Izuku stands back up and coats both his fists in advanced armament haki. He punches his fists against each other without touching, creating small bursts of lightning between his fists, and gives a wide toothy grin. Izuku? Right now I feel like I can take on anyone. Meanwhile, somewhere in the New World. On an uninhabited island, a certain group of pirates can be seen navigating in an underground cave. The familiar face of Gladius can be seen leading the group. Although now half his face is covered in burns while the other half has large scars stretching over it. Behind him is none other than the towering figure of Don Quixote Doflamingo. Doflamingo? Are you sure this is the right place? Gladius, yes young master. This is the location they disclosed. Welcome. A robotic voice would call out, causing the group to come to a halt. Up ahead they can see a tall stone stairway leading up to a stone throne illuminated by light from above. Sitting in the stone throne is a figure whose upper body is hidden out of the light. Doflamingo. So you're the clown who's been making rounds in the New World. Clown. I do thank you for coming to my location. The information you're looking to purchase is too valuable to disclose over transponder snail. Doflamingo. It's fine so long as you actually have the information I'm looking for. Clown. You're seeking information regarding Straw Hat's location, yes? Well then I definitely have something for you. Doflamingo. Perfect. How much do you want for it? Clown. What I want from you isn't money, Doflamingo. Doflamingo. Clown. I merely wish to trade for information that I'm sure you can provide me with. A fair deal, wouldn't you agree? Doflamingo. Clown. It's understandable to be wary of me, but rest assured, what I'm giving you is worth it. Just then a knife with a device attached to it would get thrown into the ground in front of Doflamingo from the ceiling above. The former warlord picks up the knife and would look up to see nothing but darkness, followed by a girlish giggling. Clown. Apologies, I have an old friend visiting. Anyways, that device there will allow you to track down that green child, calling himself one of Straw Hat's commanders. If you can find him then you'll most definitely find Straw Hat. Doflamingo. Alright, I can work with this. Clown. Alright, you got your side of the deal. Now as for my payment. Clown would slowly lean forward, bringing their body into the light. He crosses his fingers as the light illuminates his white mask. Compress. Teach me about this haki that's so prolific in the New World. Bonus chapter. Partners. Sometime during chapter 22. Katakuri is seen sitting at a table in his room with a teapot and a pair of teacups. He sits patiently in silence with his eyes closed before reaching into his scarf and pulling out a pocket watch. He checks the time and lets out a sigh. He stands up and is about to pick up the cups but stops at the sound of his door opening. Entering the room is Smoothie carrying a large plate covered by a cloche and an out-of-breath Ryuko. Katakuri. Ryuko, you're here. Pixie Bob. I'm Pant, so sorry Pant, I'm late Pant. Smoothie. I found her scuttling around the ship trying to find your room. Honestly, if you invite someone you should give them directions. Katakuri. Sorry. Smoothie. Just don't let something like this happen again. Smoothie places the plate down and exits the room, leaving the two alone. Pixie Bob. I can't tell if she was being nice or condescending. Katakuri. Smoothie can be like that sometimes. Sorry for not escorting you here myself, I got caught up in something. Pixie Bob. No, it's alright, I overslept anyways and had to rush here and even ended up getting lost for a while. If anyone should be apologizing, it should be me. Katakuri. Perhaps we should just forget and move on. Pixie Bob. Yeah, you're right. Ryuko lets out a small sigh to catch her breath before turning to the table and seeing a chair even taller than her. Intimidated by the height of the chair, she stands there looking at it before Katakuri extends a hand to her. Katakuri. Sorry about the chair. It's made for people to reach my height. Pixie Bob. It's okay. With this height difference it's understandable. Ryuko takes Katakuri's hand and he helps her up on the chair. Katakuri. Do you want something to drink? I prepared tea, but perhaps something cooler would be better. Pixie Bob. Yes, please. Katakuri nods and moves towards a fridge in the room. He takes out some iced tea and grabs 2 glasses. He places the glasses down on the table and pours some iced tea for Ryuko. Katakuri. Oh, music. Katakuri stretches his arm and reaches for a nearby music player. He presses a button and a song starts to play. Pixie Bob. I didn't realize you guys had music players in this world. Katakuri. You've heard of dials, right? This is a modified tone dialer TD for short. They store music. Pixie Bob. Oh, that's so cool. That's a lovely voice by the way. Katakuri. She's the world's most famous diva. I can lend you some TTs if you'd like. Pixie Bob. That'd be nice, thanks. Katakuri sits down in his chair and reaches to lift up the cloche. Before he does, he notices something that catches. Katakuri. Your face a scar. Ryuko winces, much to the notice of Katakuri. Pixie Bob. Ugh, I thought I could hide it with my hair. I know it's not nice to look at. I usually cover it with makeup, but I didn't have time to after taking a shower today. Ryuko shyly tries to hide her scar with her hand. Katakuri keeps quiet and proceeds to lift the cloche, revealing a tray full of cat-themed donuts. Ryuko's eyes light up and her mood brightens from the sight of the donuts. Pixie Bob. Ah, so cute. Katakuri. Ryuko. I told you already. Ryuko looks up to see Katakuri grasping his scarf. She watches intently as Katakuri takes off his scarf to reveal his scarred mouth. Katakuri. Scars don't bother me. Pixie Bob. Katakuri closes his eyes, expecting to hear a reaction like the ones he'd heard since childhood. Pixie Bob. Cool. Katakuri opens his eyes to see Ryuko staring at him without a trace of malice. Pixie Bob. Just when I thought you couldn't be any tougher. Seriously, those scars make you look so intimidating, it's awesome. Katakuri. Heh. Pixie Bob. Ah, you just laughed. Katakuri. I did not. Katakuri picks up a donut and proceeds to open his mouth widely and take a huge chunk out of it. Pixie Bob. Oh, it's kinda like a whale shark. Say, how exactly did you get those scars anyways? Katakuri. They ripped. Pixie Bob. Huh. Katakuri. I stuffed my mouth full of donuts as a child and my cheeks ripped. Katakuri looks away out of embarrassment. Ryuko lets out a short snort, causing Katakuri to look back and see her giggling. Pixie Bob. What the heck, that's so silly. There's all sorts of sides to you, huh? Katakuri. You can stop laughing now. Pixie Bob. I'm sorry, I just can't help it, it's so unexpected. Katakuri sighs as he picks up his teacup and sips with a small smile on his face. From within a nearby mirror hanging on the wall, Burly and Smoothie are watching in from the mirror world. Burly. It looks like it's going well. Smoothie. That's a good sign, usually the first ones are quite awkward. Meanwhile, Sabati Park. In the middle of the amusement park, a large crowd of people is gathered. The Ant K. Quit screwing around. A large burst of hockey and flames causes the people to cover their faces from the bright light and resulting winds. At the source of said burst is Burnin, who's got a large human-sized toy robot under her arm, and Kid, who's grasping a giant stiff toy dragon. Kid. You're blind if you think that measly prize bot can compare to my mighty dragon. Burnin. Oh, I'm blind. Get real, my mega robot puts your scully lizard to shame. Kid. Police, I could win a way better robot with one arm. Burnin. And I could get a real dragon blindfolded. Kid. Is that a challenge? Burnin. You bet your crimson ass it is. Hey Ann B. You're on. Break. What's wrong with those two? Break asks while he and Kota walk around the gathered crowd. Mandalay. I'm back. The line for the ice cream was super long. What's going on over there? Break. Let's just ignore it and keep going. Kota. I wanna ride the Ferris wheel. Break. Sure. Hey Ann B. Rematch. While things are getting heated up between the two of them, another duo is busy spending their time at a nearby cafe. Ragdoll. Hey, so you can't stop smiling because you ate this artificial devil fruit? The Moko asks Killer, who's drinking a milkshake through a straw going through one of his mask's holes while she's eating from a large bowl of ice cream. Killer. Yeah, they're called smiles. Normally they give someone his own type ability, but I ate a defective one and now I'm stuck like this, fafa. Ragdoll. That's so terrible. Killer. Maybe it is, but my crew became so lighthearted to cheer me up and Kid does his best to help me, so it's not that bad. Ragdoll. I see. Killer. It also helps that there's people out there who actually like my laugh. Ragdoll. Really? Filler. Yeah, thanks, Fa. Besides, that little horned kid of yours can apparently cure me, so it's not like I'll be stuck like this for much longer. Ragdoll. Oh, Eri can. I'm so glad. I'm happy that your situation has a good ending. Filler. Did something happen? Ragdoll. Filler. I know about the bare minimum of where you guys come from. Everyone else has these crazy costumes and powers, but not you. Ragdoll. Ah. Well, believe it or not, I used to be just like them. I was a hero with powers. I used to save people and all that. But that all changed one day. My power was stolen from me. It's not the sort of thing that can be fixed with Eri's power. I can't go back to work as a hero again like this. Filler. Ragdoll. But it's not like my quirk was overly practical, so I can manage without it. Nami's even been teaching me how to use her staff, and Midoriya's been making me my own one. Filler. What kind of power did you have? Ragdoll. My quirk let me monitor and observe up to 100 people at a time. I could know their locations and their weak points. Filler. That could certainly be useful, yeah. Ragdoll. Why do you want to know? Filler. There's hundreds of devil fruits out there, you know. There's gotta be at least one that's got the same power as your quirk. If I find out there is one, I'll be sure to track it down and bring it to you. It's only fair that your story also gets a good ending. Ragdoll. Killer smile. You're a really nice guy. Hey, can you lift up your mask a bit? Filler. Okay. Filler lifts his mask up slightly to reveal his wide smile. Ragdoll. Can you see like that? Filler. No, not really. Ragdoll. I see. Tomoko gives a small smile as she scoops up some ice cream. She slides the spoon into Killer's open mouth, making him close it from the sudden cold sensation. Filler. HMPH. What's this? Ragdoll. Just a sweet little thank you from me to you. At a nearby table, Yuara and Kiku are sitting together and looking towards Tomoko and Killer with flushed faces. Hey auntie. So cute. Meanwhile, Shaki's rip-off bar. The bar owner and Rayleigh would watch in amusement as both Law and Midnight would down full bottles of rum. The two finish at the same time and slam the bottles down on the counter. L&M. More. Rayleigh. Looks like we'll be eating good tonight. Shaki. I'll be sure to make us reservations at a nice place. Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.